Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome on this Saturday morning. It is the 20th of April. It is Passover. I'm Dave. I'm doing this show like I've been doing for 16 and a half years. It's called Dave's Gone By. We got me, we got potatoes, we got my wife Joyce, we have Chauncey Howell coming up. We have all of it. Don't go away. I feel like Joe Franklin already. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dave's Gone By, and we start every episode just like this.
Morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Like two flamingos in a fruit fight. Every color of day.
Well, as I just said, there goes the Daverhood. Welcome, everyone, to a brand new, exciting edition of Dave's Gone By. We're here every Saturday from 9 until about 11:30, sometimes noon. Don't know if we'll go that far today, but you just have to tune in and find out, or stay tuned here on our Facebook page. We finally got a chance. I never thought of this for the last decade. The Facebook page was called Radio Dave Lefkowitz because it was kind of my personal Facebook page, but I also used it mostly for the radio show. I was finally able to change the name on Facebook to Dave's Gone By. So tell all your friends.
Do you want me to go invite people?
Oh yeah, go downstairs. The Facebook page is up, so we get a chance to just invite people for a watch party. We got so many people watching already. We got Jim and Fred from Friendy and Charlie and Jack and Tony and Jim. Jim is doing a Cheech and Chong reference, which is kind of weird because I've never done any drugs in my entire life, unfortunately. But Jim says, "Dave's not here, man," which is my very worst Tommy Chong impersonation. But thank you, Jim. And Drew and, my cousin Stephanie. Hope, I assume she was at a Seder last night with her mom. And what else? Who else is here? We got Mindy. Oh my God. Is that either from elementary school or high school? But welcome to Mindy and to Karen and Cigar, and I can't read a couple of the others, but you're all here. And, getting some thumbs up here, which is always great. I love hearing from you. I love your messages, love your emoticon emoji items, and just your well wishes, and of course your eyeballs and ears every Saturday from 9 or so in the morning here on Dave's Gone By. Here's the deal. This is our 693rd episode of the show. And I know I'm a naughty Jewish boy. I'm doing this on Passover, but look, we're going to make up for it. Because first of all, among the items on this episode of the show, Rabbi Sal Solomon will be here. Yes, indeed, Rabbi Sal of, let's see, look, I even have his accoutrements. So he's breaking away. He's not ultra Orthodox, so he can do this on a Saturday morning because it doesn't really work. It's fun for him to come on the quote-unquote video radio, our Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream, and have fun with us, especially since today, Rabbi Sal is going to talk to one of the most non-Jewish people you're ever going to meet in your life. He is a local television news legend. If you were watching TV in the 70s, the 80s, even beyond, and you saw eyewitness news, remember, like with Roger Grimsby and Bill Butel and Roseanne Scamardella and John Johnson, if you were watching Live at 5 with Sue Simmons and Chuck Scarborough, who's still on the air, and Jack Cafferty, you know this man. You know the guy who would come in and do the human interest, cute, funny interstitial pieces. He's kind of sort of what the weathermen do, the Al Rokers, or before they were doing weather stuff. And who else? Who would do these cute little pieces? Charles Carolti, little bit. Like that guy who was doing it on CBS Sunday Morning also before he retired a couple of months ago. But you know what I'm talking about. He's not doing hard news. He's kind of doing man on the street stuff, or going, if it were Passover, he'd go to a matzah factory and in a playful way, talk to everyone involved. This is what this man did for many years, and he still occasionally does it on the web, even though he's into his 80s. We're talking about the one, the only Chauncey Howell. Right, Chauncey Howell, whatever happened to him? He's fine. He's great. He's going to be calling in to talk to Rabbi Sal Solomon live on the program, about a half hour or so from now. You're not going to miss it. I mean, Chauncey, Rabbi Sal, doesn't get better than that. Although the show could get even better than that, because Rabbi Sal, speaking of Passover, and by the way, I do have, just in case I get starving, I do have a box of shmura matzahs. just in case I can't get through 2.5 hours on the broadcast without chowing down. I've got the very special round handmade matzahs that taste like rabbi sweat. I've got those, and I love them, by the way. So they're there just in case. But even more so, Rabbi Sal will also be taking over the reins of StoryTime on this episode of the show. Now, StoryTime was started well over a year ago, where we read part of somebody else's work, which I absolutely love because I don't have to write anything or do anything creative of my own. So we've read children's books, we've read more grown-up books. We started with a book about Hansel and his cow. Now, I even get this morning off of Passover because Rabbi Sal will take the reins. And one of the greatest things I've ever seen, he will be reading from the 2006, or as Jews would say, the 5766 Laws of Pesach Manual. So it's new, it's updated, and this is going to give us all the laws and rules of Passover. And if you think there are a few, this book, and I kid you not, is more than 800 pages long. So when Jews partake of the Passover holiday, this is why we don't convert, or I mean, if people want to convert, but we don't proselytize. We don't say, hey, come and be Jewish, because who would deal for one holiday that lasts 8 days? That's more than 100 pages a day of just rules and regulations and laws. There's Sephardic customs. There's, what else do we have here? Preparation for the Seder. Okay, that's cool. A digest. This is a digest. Can you imagine the full version? What else do we have here? And whether makeups are kosher for Passover. For example, the rabbi will get into this much more, but Estee Lauder, amber bronze impressions, lights all over. What the? What? Oh, I guess these are good for Passover. Her Swiss Army brow kit and the brow gel. Rabbi Sal is probably going to be reading this all year on the program. I swear to you, but it's the Laws of Pesach with Rabbi Sal. That'll be our story time later in the show. And we'll also go inside Broadway for news of the Rialto. So this is the second to last week. We've just finished the penultimate week of the 2018-2019 Broadway season. That means in just less than a week from now, no show can open and be considered for a Tony Award this season. I mean, it can open and then be okay for next season. But this is essentially very near the end of our current Broadway season. So what happens? All these shows open at the last minute because the producers want them in there fresh in voters' minds for Tony and Drama Desk and Outer Critics Circle Award consideration. So we got a ton of shows to talk about in terms of shows that opened last week and what the critics thought of them. Plus there's about 4 or 5 Broadway shows opening in the week ahead. I'll tell you what they are. I'll give you a little bit of Broadway information. I might review a show as well, but I don't think there'll be time. I'm trying to cram a lot into this program. Cram a lot? We're going to cram a lot. Anyway, and what else? We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned as well, because even though we're in New York for a while, and we're back on Long Island where we started, we've been in Colorado for the past 9 years. And you can tell we have because of the way I say Colorado instead of the proper Jewish way of Colorado. So we, at one point, I just decided to start writing some limericks about various towns and cities and places in Colorado. And they're little 5-line, rather raunchy poems about various places in the state. And I read one a week, every single week. That's been going on for a few months too. So today we go to a place I had never heard of, Hooper, Colorado, right? Hooper will have a poem about that. We'll also most likely have our potato hotline because Passover is just Passover. And I don't have to deal with most of it. We're living with my folks. My mom is dealing with it, but still, it's like, as you see, there's 8 rules to marry my daughter. There's 827 pages of rules to get through this holiday. So I might have to ask Potato, who's going to be standing by, manning the hotline, and oh dear. So he's been so overworked and done so many overtime hour shifts. Look at his eyes. He needs some Visine or something. Anyway, we will go to the potato hotline for information that I might need about Passover. So that, my friends, is a full of chocks episode of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, in case I forgot to announce that part. Remember that you can find more information about the show at davesgoneby.com. And remember to tell your friends, tell your enemies. It's much easier to find us now on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/Dave's Gone By, which you know because you're watching as we speak. So what I want to get started with, what I want to talk about on the show. Well, Passover is here. We did our Seder last night, and yeah, we've gotten old. We've gotten, I won't say lazy, it's just things are sometimes a little tough to do for various reasons. So back in the day, all the years that I've been living home, we would do 2 Seders. That was the American thing. You have that first Seder night, and the insanity.
The dog, the dog strangled.
I know. Where's our dog? Our dog is wandering around, FYI.
He's strangled in the phone cord.
Joyce is worried that our dog just got strangled in the phone cord.
Look.
Oh, well, that's not a happy holiday for our animal. Here we go. Let's put him on camera for a moment so everybody can see our old dog who's made it to another Passover. Wow. This is our dog, Ufti. Say hi. Say shalom, Ufti. Yeah. Hello. Woof. Yeah. Who's a good boy? Okay. Anywho, thanks for not dying during my show.
Oh, so can I use that Revlon brow? I don't know. I was
It's
wondering.
Revlon brow. No, Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder brow gel.
I was going to buy the Revlon. I didn't know. Can I use the Revlon one or just Estee Lauder?
I don't know. Let me check
Please
Revlon.
don't put the ball on my underwear.
Oh, we also have a very special baseball with eyes. This is a new addition to the Dave's Gone By family. He's what would you say about Ball with Eyes? What is there to say about him?
Nothing.
Really? Yeah.
He's crazy.
Oh. Wow, my head is blank with puns at the moment.
Eyeball.
Oh, he's Eyeball.
Yes.
What a great name. Thank you, dear.
Eyeball.
He's
That's his name.
Eyeball. Very good. Huh. You hit a home run with that one. Very good.
Thank you. You didn't strike out yourself.
Tee tee. Ah. At least I got on base.
So which
Yes.
eye gel can I use? I was very concerned.
Oh, well, now I gotta find that page again, which I never will. Oh, here's Revlon. I literally turned to Revlon. Do I what? Yeah, that's on.
So tell me, can I use the Revlon brow gel?
This is very important. I'm gonna check the book here for gel.
But this is from 2006, so I don't know how.
Things might have changed.
Yes.
The Grand Rabbi was still alive back then, maybe, so he was making different decisions.
Can I use my Revlon brow gel?
You can use the Super Lustrous Cream Velvet's lip color
No.
if you want to, if you really want to. I don't know about brow. Let's see.
Am I allowed to wear makeup on Pesach?
Apparently you are. You can use the Color Stay Brow Color or the concealer. Yes, you can.
Wow.
You can also do the Love Pat. We'll do that one later, but
That sounds a little too much for TMI, no?
tell me about that. Anywho, so how did you like the Seder last night?
I thought you did a really wonderful job.
Oh, that's right. I led it, kind of.
You did.
So back in the day, let me explain to the listeners. Growing up, my mom would do 2 Seders. The first one would have about 30 people, and the second one would have about 18 to 20. So it was a friggin' madhouse, and it just, children screaming and people yelling and running around, and we would always start late.
That was all you.
Yeah,
That was just you.
That's true. And it was fun, but it was endless, right? And we just went through the whole Haggadah, and it was the same thing year after year, and I wanted to shoot myself, and yet it was also still pretty great. So, and then things change. My wife and I move away. We haven't really done, except for a community Seder at our local temple once or twice.
Three times.
Yeah, we were there 2 or 3 times over 10 years.
Because it's a political Seder, that's what I like.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that.
So she does a political Seder because you read about, it's like about a social justice Seder. So you read about the oppressed and you talk about freeing when every man or woman has equality. I love the way she does it. It's beautiful.
Our rabbi is an academic, back in Colorado, is an academic person. She's very well read.
She's on the book.
She's actually a scholar.
Oh, I would say so, yeah.
So when she does a sermon, when she does a talk or writes something in the newsletter,
she explains it too.
She's really on top of things, but also she's into being a Jew isn't just following rules, it's doing right.
Ethical code of practice, it's social justice, very social justice. I like it.
Yeah, so that's cool. I don't care about social justice.
I get to read the Prophets of Rage passage.
But so that's the only Seder that I've been going to, or my wife has been going to over the past few years. They've been fun, but we don't go. We'll go once every couple of years. And
usually you perform in the Kornspiel.
Yeah, and also what I do love is, even though our rabbi is an academic, they make time for fun. So when the plagues come,
oh God,
she throws these little plastic frogs everywhere, just onto the tables. The frogs are. I love that.
They're little hoppy frogs. We have them, yeah.
How do they do the other? I think there are also little bags of other toy plagues.
I think sometimes we have them, but you can't keep that. No. If they're like they're illustrative. Illustrative bags of plagues.
And then there's this guy.
This year she had the new one, measles.
She did have measles. Yes. Oh, yeah, appropriate for the Orthodox community, measles. But and what's kind of cool about our Seder back home, the community one, is there's a guy there who's a little bit off, a little bit crazy. So for blood, he actually takes an opens a vein and shoots his own blood over everything.
No, they do a good meal. They make nice soup.
Oh yeah, no, it's very fine, but it's not like growing up in where I grew up.
Well, because it's the West, it's not Ashkenazic. It's more of a mixed Judaism.
Right. It's also, is it Reform or Reconstruct? I think it's Reform.
I don't know if it has an affiliation.
Maybe it might be unaffiliated. We might all get together for no particular reason. She's not really a rabbi. We just found someone wandering around the library.
I could look it up if I had my phone. Give me my phone, baby.
It was over there.
Oh, I'm gonna pull a cord. No.
I don't know. I think I put it up there.
Okay, I can't.
So, but we decided. We didn't decide. We've been living here by the good graces of my parents for the past few weeks. So. Old-fashioned sort of Seder, but small. We didn't invite tons of family. We invited my aunt, my beloved Aunt Esther, and we had a good time anyway. So, but it was just us. It was a real quiet sort of thing, which was cool. And I had to lead the thing per se. So meanwhile,
I'll get the phone. You could show them your outfit.
My outfit. Yes. We couldn't find the right Haggadas, the ones that we've been using for 50 years.
But they all were different versions.
So we're all holding different Haggadas, so we can't really stay in tune with each other.
Different books. Tell them you read along. Everybody reads along and says different passages.
Yeah.
The problem is when you have different versions of a book, it's different pages and different translations. That was our problem.
Yeah, if you have responsive reading and you tell everybody to turn to page 28.
Yes.
And everybody's page 28 is different. It makes for an unusual Seder, let me tell you. So that was kind of fun. I was also skipping like mad because we were supposed to start earlier, even before sundown. And of course, this has not changed in 50 years. There's always a different reason, right? But there's always the reason that for some way, no matter what we do, no matter how we promise, no matter how everybody's tired, and we want to start at like 5:30. No. We start at 7:20 when the sun goes down and the candles are lit. So everybody's exhausted by the time it even starts. But with me leading the Seder, suddenly I'm going through the Haggadah and I'm like, you know what? I think I'll skip this. We don't need to talk about Rabbi Gamliel. He really has nothing interesting to say. We'll mention the wise son, the wicked son, the one who knows nothing. We don't have to argue about them. What's the matter, babe?
It just done my
Ooh.
really badly.
Just a toast stubby thing. Anyway, this, because it was a special occasion, Joyce also wants me to share that I dressed up for it.
Fancily.
And in sort of a, I don't know why I went in a transgender kind of fashion, since I'm not, but that's, oh, now you know what my, that's my mother's nightgown over my wife's blouse or night clothes,
Yeah.
a straw hat I found in the closet,
Oh,
and
sure,
leg wear from a theater that must have been doing a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, because I found near a garbage can in New York metal-seeming leg plates. So I'm very, it was somewhat of a non-traditional Seder, I have to say. But I gotta say, it turned out to be fun, and because I skipped, we were able to get through the first part of the Seder in about half an hour. I was just rolling. I was like, come on, dip your fingers. Well, let's get the salt in there. Okay, all right, yeah. We don't need to put the Carosas and the more, yeah, we do. Okay, we do? Fine, do it quickly, around and around and around. And like, within half an hour, Shulchan Aruch, time to eat. And I cooked one of my legendary duck, which actually came out as great as I've ever made it. I don't like to, I'm not a braggy kind of person. I think you all know that by this point, but I tasted that duck last night. Yeah. The secret, lots of oranges. I actually put a little bit of prune in there for the first time because it's Passover and everybody gets blocked up immediately. So hopefully everybody's having a good bowel movement this morning that was at the Seder. I know I did. And by the way, welcome. Speaking of family, thank you to my cousin Mark, who says, Happy Pesach to your family. Please share with Mom and Dad. I certainly will, cousin Mark. I certainly will. And thank you and welcome to Jeffrey and Robert and Suzanne. Suzanne, who's I'm sure celebrating the holiday too. She was on the show a couple of months ago talking about her I can never, JMTC, John Montgomery Theater Company. So I hope you're doing good things with that as well. Anyway, so had the first part of the Seder, I think it was my mom hid the afikoman, which I found, even though I'm no longer the youngest in the room, my wife is. Did I get anything for the afikoman? Growing older sucks. When you think, it really, I think about it now. I conducted the Seder for the most part. I didn't make the charosas, my mom and dad did, but I made the duck. I helped bring stuff up from the basement for Passover. I did all this stuff, and I found the afikoman. And no gift, no $5 tucked under my pillow, no present, no. I said, what did I find the afikoman for? Well, I mean, it was easy to find. She put it right under the sugar bowl in the kitchen. But jeeps, I'm owed. I got gypped last night. And I'm sorry if that's a politically incorrect term, almost as bad as being Jew. But no, somebody owes me some afikoman goodness, I have to say. And Elijah, we assume he came. I wouldn't know because I spilled out his wine before anybody could tell. I wonder, people assume that Elijah the prophet gets insanely drunk on Passover because he goes house to house to house to house to apartment to house, drinks a bit of the wine, and then leaves, and that's how but really in every house, what do? They spill the wine, they spill it. So he might be stone cold sober even after 12 million houses. It occurs to me, the poor bastard, I hope he carries like bottled water when he's going up in his chariot and going from place to place, because he might not be getting drunk at all. He might be getting nothing. That's upsetting to me. I get nothing for the afikoman. Elijah gets nothing from going through the door, walking through the room. He probably, our dog is old, he's toothless. Elijah probably goes into Jewish homes that have Rottweilers and maybe not Dobermans, but part pit bulls. He's got to worry about getting bit. I feel bad for the guy. I honestly do. Anyway, I hope you had good Seders. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I hope you all had fine and merry and happy Seders yesterday and are having a good Seder time. It's, been only about half a day since I've been on pure Passover food. I'm managing. It does make me wonder, and I mentioned this at the Seder last night, of why the traditional thing is Jews say, oh my God, it's the holiday, I'm so constipated, I can't poop, all we eat is matzah and matzah meal, and we don't get this. It's like as if everybody always eats bran cereal every day of the week, and suddenly, oh no, no bran, what do I do? And for decades, this was the joke about Passover, that people spend the entire holiday constipated because all they're eating is matzah. And when you look at it, if you might look in this book, as the rabbi will later, basically every vegetable is perfectly fine and edible, as are fruits, on Passover. Nobody's stopping you from making broccoli and spinach and kale and cauliflower and endive, whatever the fuck endive is, I have no idea what that is, and radicchio and cabbage and all these things that are going to move through your system, carrots, right? There's nothing stopping you from eating that.
What, carrot?
Or any vegetable on Passover. And yet Jews complain about it being the blockages, and they can't do anything. They can't sit on a toilet and make anything on Passover. But why is this? Just eat some more vegetables.
Do you want to play the
prunes you can eat?
Do you want to play the Hakuna Matata Passover song?
Oh, the 613. I would love to, except I'll get cut off on Facebook.
Oh,
I can
sing it.
you know what? I can probably find it on YouTube.
Just sing it.
How do they start it? Shul Kanore. I don't know.
That's very pretty.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You look lovely in your shirt.
Well, I think Joyce got me this shirt, by the way, this past week. Not so much for the holiday, but just because it's a pretty shirt and it really pops. It's got jellyfish, which are unkosher, FYI.
Are they?
But if you can't turn...
No, that's not. They're Revlon brow.
These are brow gels.
That's brow gels.
Brow jellyfish. I love them. Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at them. See, since it's a TV show now, we have motion. Look, they're swimming.
Oh my God, it's 3D.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Look at the texture.
They're pretty.
It's a really nice shirt, isn't it? There, I'll show everybody. Ta-da! So let's do, because we've got Chauncey Howell calling in about 20 minutes.
He's an awesome man.
Well, you remember Chauncey Howell?
Yeah. He used to do a lot of human interest stories.
Yeah.
And he was very nice. He always reminded me of a very sweet, ladybug turtle man. Very sweet. No?
We have a guest calling in, and you just called him a ladybug turtle man. What?
Because ladybugs are very sweet, and turtles are very sweet. No?
Yeah, okay, fine. He's also a small little, back in the day.
No, but I thought he was just very, he had a very kind way. Very gentle.
He was sweet. You saw him, he was jovial. He was jolly, like weather people are.
He was very, I'm kind.
Yeah, he just seemed like he had a good time talking to men in the street.
Who doesn't?
Well, there's that.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I like it.
He'd get out there and be like, so what do you think of Easter bunnies and or
He was
etc.
a very nice man. He did reality TV before it was reality TV.
In a manner of speaking, he did. And the weird part was, even before that, he was an art critic.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Didn't you always wear a bow tie?
Yep. That's him. That was Chauncey Howell.
That's probably the ladybug. Did he ever have ladybugs on his bow tie? Is that where I'm getting it from?
Well, you know what? Rabbi saw him, ask him that if you want to be around when the rabbi is talking to.
What is Chauncey's persuasion?
How do you mean? I assume he is not Chauncey Howell.
Does he sell it? Well, I guess so.
Yeah, no, Jewish he's not.
Are there Irish Jews in Ireland?
Are there Irish Jews?
Ireland,
Of course there are. There's everything Jews. What's that old joke though? Guy goes into a restaurant in Chinatown, and I forget how it goes, but it has to do with the waiter, and of course it's a racist joke. But do you have are there Chinese Jews here? And the waiter says, no, we have apple juice, tomato juice, no Chinese juice. That's kind of the joke. Or
that's offensive.
If anybody knows it, if you can reprint a message to me here, I'll tell it properly.
That's offensive.
It's not offensive. It's just cute.
You know who's mad? Eyeball.
What? Oh, Eyeball is mad about the joke. Why is that?
He's the panopticon eye. He sees all and judges all.
Really?
He's giving you the stink eye.
Well, he's waiting for a hit.
He's giving you stink eye.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just take him out.
Maybe that means the Mets might have won.
Actually, the Mets haven't been doing so terribly because it's only the first 2 weeks of the season.
Okay, I cannot give you almond butter.
No, be a good boy. And by the way, welcome to John. John tunes in almost every week. Thank you, John. And Diane, retired from the place where I currently work.
Nice.
So welcome to you, Diane.
She's probably sipping a margarita, sitting on a beach chair on a beach.
She's sitting on the dock of the bay watching the books roll away. It's 9:30 in the morning. So we have time. Let's get to Greeley Crimes and Old Times. What's the matter, babe?
Just almond butter. So I'm eating kosher for Passover. Almond butter, it's delicious, but I can't.
Oh, you want your tea?
I'm going to go crawl over there.
So Joyce's going to crawl and get her tea.
I stubbed my toe, so I'm injured now in many other ways.
While she does that, I'm going to play the intro for Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Yeah. So here's what Greeley Crimes and Old Times is all about. And I'm quite angry now.
Why?
At the Greeley Tribune, which is the newspaper back home, quote unquote, in Colorado, where we live, in lovely Greeley, Colorado. So the newspaper there is called the Greeley Tribune. Here it is. And for years now, they've been doing 2 different columns in the newspaper.
They only publish now 4 days a week.
They've,
are you going to do your ancestry kit today?
Tomorrow. When we
by mommy.
Yeah, right. So they have had these 2 different columns in there. I mean, they still publish daily on the web, but they publish hard copy only 4 days a week. Anyway, one column is phone calls that come into the Greeley police dispatch in Weld County of people calling for help from the police because they see something weird. Sometimes they themselves are
weird. They used to call more often asking for a supervisor, or they'd say, I would like help with, my neighbor, but I don't want Officer Smith. Now they're more like, please beat my child.
Yes.
I see something in a box. There's a squirrel attacking my baby.
Pretty much,
but
yeah.
They don't have the same. They're not the same level of depth of whoever's taking the calls is not really detailing.
Or maybe they're redacting some of the better phone calls that
they have like redaction.
Because they have, when I first printed this, half of these lines were in black.
I blame Russia.
Me too, yeah. And China.
Yeah, mostly Russia.
Because they don't have those Chinese Jews. They just have apple Jews, orange Jews,
oh my God,
pomegranate Jews. I'm going to work that joke to death until the end of the show.
I'm going to take back the shirt.
No, not my happy shirt. Please. Gesundheit. So gesund.
Oh.
So, that's one aspect of Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Another is a column that our friend Mike Peters does.
Yeah.
It's called 100 Years Ago. He goes to the newspapers from 10 decades ago and finds the coolest, most nostalgic, weirdest, funniest stories that were literally printed in...
Those are more in depth.
Yeah, those are cool.
But they give full names. That troubles me.
So here's why I'm angry at the Tribune. Gesundheit.
Sorry,
They're coming
David.
threes. Here we go. Is that the last one?
I have no idea. Stuff is coming out all over.
For the past 3 weeks, the Greeley Tribune of blessed memory has not printed any Gesundheit. Oh, now you got to do 2 more. Has not printed any cop logs. None. So we're out of them. We got none.
Believe, why there's anarchy. I don't believe there's any militia, police. There's nothing in Greeley anymore.
As soon as we left, it all went down. Certainly the university did.
Sol Diaz.
Sol Diaz.
Paz.
Oh, is that the woman who...
Yeah, she took over.
Yeah, our university was closed one day last week because of a terror threat from some woman. That would, well, all the universities in Colorado. Gesundheit, my dear. Oh, by the way, Diane, welcome. And George, our friend George from the Dominican Republic.
George Jorge.
And who has been on this program. And Chauncey's with us. So Chauncey will be calling in about 10 minutes or so. So, Gesundheit, oh my gosh. This is the, you have... Literally the sneezels.
It's the weather. That's why I'm drinking my unfiltered raw honey.
Yeah, you are my unfiltered raw honey.
Oh,
with your brow gel, and
look, even the dog ran away. That's sad.
Okay,
you're bad when your own dog runs away. Okay, say it.
So there are no times this time on Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We don't have any Greeley Times. We do have many old times, because that column is still going, and we even have one elsewhere item. So are you ready, baby?
Yes, I'm ready.
Here we
I may
go.
start sneezing and dying, but I'm ready.
If you could die off camera, because I just don't want to be liable.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Here we go.
Can I stand up, or is that bad?
No, please.
Okay.
It's closer to the mic. It's even better.
Good.
A Windsor blacksmith purchased a Hupmobile.
Oh, that's the ganja.
No, this is 100 years ago.
Oh, that's pre-ganja.
No, it's actually, they used to call cars Hupmobiles.
Why Hup?
I don't know.
Hup?
Hup to it.
You look so pretty in that outfit.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy you said that.
Aw, I'm very happy too.
How much do you think a Hupmobile cost in 1919?
$500.
No.
More?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. $1,400.
Maybe it's something like it would be like a Maserati, or maybe like a.
Yeah.
What's that fast car that they all get?
He's got a
A
fast
Mustang?
car.
Is a Mustang fast? What's the one they get from Detroit? They make that car.
Well, anything that's a sports car.
No, but there's a specific car that they make in Detroit that's a fast, speedy car.
I really don't know.
Years ago, I went for a job interview, and the guy drove me to the airport in it.
Ooh.
No.
What do you mean no? Oh, the guy, no. The car. I was the car. Was it fast?
Yes, I don't know what it's called. I see it, but I don't know.
Stingray? Well, makes sense. Well, anyway, the guy paid $1,400 for this Hupmobile. He then quickly drove away. The check was not good. Whoops. And he was arrested and found to be insane.
Well,
that's the word they used back then.
Yeah, but he's not insane, because if he could steal a $1,400 car, he's pretty darn smart.
Yeah, right. He's now in the insane asylum in Pueblo.
Oh, nice.
Which I begged you to take me to.
No, it still exists, actually. It's a veterans hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They built it, but
they still use it for homeless vets and stuff, yeah.
But is there also a wing that's still for the crazies?
I don't know.
Because that's where I want to retire.
That's where I want a vacation.
Yeah. And what else? I started a poem about this. Under the spreading Hupmobile, the village smithy cons. Okay, because he's a Windsor blacksmith.
That's beautiful.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I thought so. Anywho.
Could you imagine a crazy blacksmith? Like, he's got fire, he's got implements. You don't want to mess with him.
That's true.
Blacksmiths have the good tools. Your son is looking at himself in the mirror.
I guess there's irony in that statement.
As long as nobody gets burnt.
Well, just steel yourself. Well, that's all.
I hope you don't get raped over the
Coles. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, shopping? You're fired.
We're going shopping at Coles? What?
Right, here we go. Greeley residents who have been the butt of jokes. Speaking, we always talk about butts on the show. The butt of jokes about seeing aeroplanes flying over the town. And back in the day, this is how they would spell it. It would be
crop duster, right? Crop dusters.
No, not even. It's AEROP.
Aeroplane. Maybe that's how it began.
Flying,
aeronautics.
Well, 1919. This is not that many years after Wilbur and Orville got that show on Fox.
What's the plane that Gene sent to us goes to Paris? Like XL or something? Some weird plane?
Well, no, isn't there a plane that goes directly to Thailand now or something like that just nonstop, just boom, boom?
JetBlue.
Really? Oh, well, no, JetBlue picked a weird, it's Abu Dhabi or Emirates or some.
No, it's like, I don't know. Okay, continue.
Anywho, so here's the deal.
Hey, what happened to the other chicken?
Yeah, I was going to use him. I was going to put him up with us. He's probably on the radiator. Do you see hypnotized chicken there?
No, I do not.
You don't? Hypnotized chicken is missing? Oh, there he is. Oh. There. Thank goodness. Here, move him maybe up on one of the keys, because that's the only way people will. No, maybe it pulls back. There he is. But we don't have a chicken alert today, because there's not enough news or Greeley crimes for the old times. By the way, welcome to Raymond and Sandra. Sandra, who's a PR person out in Los Angeles. No, different. Different. This guy's an actor.
Actores. David, somos actores, no somos productos. Right? Wasn't that?
No, I'm a product. No, the people in Argentina were.
They said we're actors, not products, or something. Remember when they struck in Argentina?
Yeah. Well, the line was "Somos actores, queremos actar." We're actors. We just want to act, and they were on strike.
Yeah,
because,
they don't want to do promotion.
Well, Claudia, welcome to Claudia from my high school. So hey, Claudia, I do remember you. So
I
there you go.
invited anyone who was our friend. I don't know.
I have no friends.
I'm not good at inviting. Hey, Chauncey.
Hey, Chauncey. Oh, my God. 5 people are watching or more on video at the moment. Our video eye keeps changing the number.
Because it probably has a It has the watch party.
Oh, maybe.
I
Yeah.
don't understand it.
Yeah. So anyway, let's make sure that I have just invite a few people here. Okay. So what was I talking about? Oh, the aeroplane. Well, what was that aeroplane flying over the town? Well, next week, a fleet of the Flyers will appear over Greeley skies.
Ooh.
What kind of planes?
Mm-mm.
And I will wash out my mouth after this. German Fokkers.
What is
German
that?
World War I Fokkers. The planes
Spell
used in
it?
the Great War. F-O-K-K-E-R.
What does Fokker mean in German?
Do you really want to know? I'm not. There's probably
No, I'm
some guy named
asking.
probably some dude named Fokker
Oh.
back 100 and something years ago. And he was, no, I'm not going to make the joke. Okay, but they're going to have exhibits in
love his
Cheyenne. Yes.
We don't have a little airplane.
But they're going to fly over Greeley in progress between the cities.
Where's your new poop?
Well, they're both there. The poops are right behind the bear.
There's only one. Oh.
No, they're both there.
Look at them happy.
Joyce got this for me also because we don't have enough stuff. Look how cute. Look at
they're
this.
small to carry back. They have big poops.
So here I am talking about not having poops on Passover, and I've got one.
Oh, wait,
Isn't he adorable? Oh, and then
back
drooly.
I think he's happy.
You think so? Why is he drooling?
I don't know. I think maybe he's like, let me see. Oh, I don't know. That's a bad image. Yeah. It's cute keychains.
Because he's happy when he's in your ass, and he's happy when he's making gas.
I think
Anywho.
they're cute. The little one's cuter.
Okay. So that was the news about the German Fokkers. Let's see if we can get through another one here. 10-year-old Leslie Douth. Leslie Douth.
I believe she doubted protest too much.
She was picking asparagus
Oh, nice.
at a farm north of town.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a boy. They called boys Leslie
I
back
like
then.
that they used to do that, like Francis or I
Leslie.
like that. Yeah.
Margaret.
Margaret, Teresa.
Yeah, all those boy names. Well, he was picking asparagus when he climbed on a large haystack.
Oh no, this is not going to end well.
He fell
Yeah.
from the haystack,
Yeah.
breaking his left arm.
Oh my God.
This is the fourth time
Yeah.
his arm has been broken.
Ah.
You know that's God trying to tell him something about haystacks?
No, I think it means that he needs a better guardian.
Yeah, right? Because he's 10 years old. He's broken his arm unless his parents broke his arm the first 3 times.
Yeah.
They're like, if you climb on a haystack, we'll do it a 5th time. So don't do it. Several students from Greeley High School, which I guess was around all those times ago, hiked to Shark's Tooth area, 8 miles west of Greeley, for a picnic.
That's nice.
They had a great time
Oh, thank God.
roasting weenies and marshmallows.
That's beautiful.
Weenies.
I called the dog Wiener Pants.
I know. I just love that they were calling them weenies
Weenies.
back in the day. And I don't know what those boys were doing with their weenies after lights were out. But
they couldn't call it hot dogs probably because of the Germans. They didn't want to have any like hot dog or like a reference
well,
to
Vienna is closer to Venus.
Schnitzel?
Yeah, Vienna. Although at that point Austria was not so bad. Germany was bad.
Yes.
Austria wasn't
Yes.
the bad guy yet.
Can we consult the Passover laws?
Well, yes. What would you like to look up? We're going to have this
I
as
would like
our.
to know if there's any dog food listed. But do Orthodox people, they have dogs, right? What do you
They do. They do.
Yep.
In fact, what they do is during Passover, Orthodox Jews sell their dogs through a rabbi to Vietnamese families
Oh,
who metaphorically
David,
eat
everything's
them.
falling on me.
I know.
What's
There's no index. It's 825 pages.
David,
It doesn't have an index.
pick page 36 and read something.
Let's see what's on
from it.
page double high.
And it's not backward. It should be backward. You're reading English, not.
All right, hold on. Here we go. It's about
David, is that your
Shulchan Aruch.
call? Is that your call?
Oh, that's right. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Solomon.
Oh my gosh, let's get Rabbi Saul on the air with you because we have Chauncey Howell calling into the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Programmio of the stream. So Chauncey, just hang with us one moment because we've got to get Rabbi Saul in the room, and let's get out of Greeley crimes and old times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Oh, shalom, shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, your old friend, Rabbi Sal Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I am very delighted to be talking to someone who needs to turn his computer radio down because we're getting feedback over there. So if you could, can you turn down your volume thing on your end there?
Can I turn it off?
Yeah, just lower the volume so we don't get the feedback. Much as I love the sound of my own voice, because my voice is so gorgeous, Rabbi Sal here, and I am delighted because if you grew up in New York, as I did, and you watched the news at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you watched Live at 5, or you watched Eyewitness News with all those faces that we remember back in the day, you knew this man who did the short human interest pieces, the man on the street. His name is Chauncey Howell. He is still, thank God, alive and well. I believe he's living on Long Island, and he still does pieces for various news programs and the internet. We're going to ask what he's been up to. But ladies and gentlemen, won't you please welcome and give a big Passover shalom to Chauncey Howell. Shalom, Chauncey.
Hello, how are you, Dave?
That's not, I'm Rabbi Sal.
I mean, it's Rabbi Saul.
Yeah, get your stuff straight here. How are you, by the way?
I'm pretty well. I live in Pennsylvania, or
Pennsyltucky.
Pennsyltucky. I don't live on Long Island.
Oh, okay. So you don't have horrible taxes.
I worked on Long Island for a while, and I know Long Island. I'm descended from people from Long Island who came to New Jersey in 1660, then pushed over into Pennsylvania.
Wow.
But I lived in New York City most of my life, come to think of it.
So it's all right. You've already given me like avenues for 5 different questions. So you can trace your family back up to 1620?
1627.
Good Lord. So what were your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents do? What did they do? What were they like?
They were landowners. They were Puritans. They arrived on Long Island in 1632.
16,
they were in Boston before that.
Yeah.
Then we're among the founding families of New York State. We have our coat of arms on the Grand Staircase in Albany. Isn't that something?
That's...
My God. And I'm from a poorer branch that was shoved out in 1660 and sent to New Jersey. They said, go to the Jerseys. And we all got in boats because they followed the laws of primogeniture, which meant that the eldest son got everything. And the younger ones were all kicked out. And we were sent to New Jersey, to Howell Township, as a matter of fact.
Wait a minute, Howell Township? Oh, my God. Was it named after your family?
Yes. We're all over the state of New Jersey.
Oh.
And Long Island, New York State. It's amazing.
So
it's a large American family.
Wow, I had no...
All descended from one man who's the reputed founder of Southampton, Long Island.
How many children did he have? Like, maybe he had 50 kids, and they're just...
Well, by 1660, he had about 60 grandchildren. He arrived with 5 grown male children in 1627, and they were already grown and had their own children, and they just spread all over the place.
Well, there really wasn't much else to do back in the 1600s except
we all intermarried with the same families over and over again. That's why I'm named Chauncey. My father was a Chauncey. There's a Chauncey family. If you go to Brooklyn, you see Chauncey Street, and there used to be Howell Street. Then in Jersey City, it's the same thing.
And that was based on
all over New Jersey and Long Island. Bellport, there's a Chauncey Street crosses the Howell Road. And same out here in Pennsylvania.
Well, let me ask you though.
It's almost obnoxious.
What? I'm sorry. What? but let me. I have to say, when you were a kid growing up with the name Chauncey, did you get beat up all the time?
Well, I complained to my father, who was also a Chauncey.
Right.
And he said, well, I thought of naming you Herbert Hoover Howell. Would you have liked that? And I said, no, I'll take Chauncey. Chauncey's fine. And so it helped me when I was on TV in New York because a lot of people thought I was from Brooklyn. They didn't know I was from a small town in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They thought I was from Brooklyn because of Chauncey Street. And the Irish all assumed I was Irish because of Chauncey. It sounds Irish, doesn't it? It's like Shaughnessy. And there was Chauncey Olcott, the famous Irish tenor, who was not really Irish. He came from Buffalo, New York, and his real name was John Chancellor, like my old friend from NBC.
I remember John Chancellor. Yeah.
Believe it or not. And he wrote My Wild Irish Rose, Mother Machree, Roses Raleigh, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. And he was a stage Irishman
So,
in vaudeville.
but your family, you are sort of Irish-ish, or it's essentially
No, I'm not
Quaker,
Irish at all. I'm English.
No. English, pure English, pure.
Well, not pure. My mother's Welsh, actually.
Oh. So
And,
never bet with her. Yeah,
Her maiden name was Powell, which means son of Howell, because Howell is originally a Welsh name, but my family left Wales in 1400 for a better life in England.
Wow.
Now, you don't want to tell them that. They get very happy about that, those Welsh.
Well, of course, and if you leave Wales, you have to spout off.
Society called me in New York and wanted to give me an award for being a well-known Welshman because the name is a Welsh name, definitely. And when you go to Wales, there was who was the Howell the Good. He was around 700 A.D. And everybody named Howell claims to be descended from him. They're all misled, of course, but let them think that, right? It's very interesting. And anyway, I want to wish you Chag Sameach.
Why, thank you. Well, Chag Sameach.
And a Zisa Pesach.
And good Zising Easter to you as well.
Zising Easter, well, I don't know about that. We're not doing too much of that anymore.
Oh, fair enough. But
I got tired of doing Easter stories. Every holiday on TV, St. Chauncey had to do something on the Easter Bunny. St. Chauncey had to do more on Santa Claus.
No, wait, how did you go back in the day from being, because you were an art critic for a while in print?
No, not really.
Oh, no.
I was always a feuilletoniste. I did little stories, but I did hard news too. I did everything.
But before
I had a knack for making amusing stories using real people, not celebrities.
But I'm saying,
you must have interviewed a lot of celebrities. Well, I met a lot of them, but they weren't really the interesting subject matter. Real people are the interesting subject matter. I did about 8,000 stories of TV. Wow. 8,000. Think of that.
Man. Do you have the archive?
Never stopping.
Are there...
NBC, they call me the good soldier because they'd send me out on any crappy story idea, and I'd make it good because I'm actually talented that way. They would say, little girls who were reporters would say, Chauncey, how come you know so much? And I said, well, I could say to you, and I'd be mean if I did say this, I could say to you, how come you know so little? That's our job to know a lot of things. And we're reporters, right? Reporters?
Well, it's just preparation. You take a half hour before you do a story, and suddenly you're an expert. That's how it goes,
Well, I have a lot of reference books. I'm very good in the library, and now we have Wikipedia. My God! Also, I was a good student in school. I loved school, and I majored in Greek at Amherst College, so I had a classical background.
Wow!
So I can tell you the name of Hannibal's favorite elephant.
Hannibal had a favorite elephant. What was it, Moshe? What was his name?
No, it wasn't Moshe. It should have been. It was Surus. Not Surus, trouble. Surus. It was Surus, S-U-R-U-S. And the other elephants were said to be very jealous of him because he was more richly caparisoned.
Well, he had a longer trunk?
As the statement goes. He wore a fancier clothes. He had more interesting elephant drops or drapery.
Elephant drops would be interesting.
I'm speaking to I just put my teeth in too, by the way.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
teeth, I got my mother's teeth. They were like butter. She didn't have good teeth, but I got. My father had only one cavity his whole life. I didn't get his teeth, but I got his hair. Now my hair is so thin.
What about your hair?
I'm still okay looking, but not great. You know what I mean?
I hear you. So let's get back, though, to how you became a TV news person, because it's a dream job.
I was a writer. I worked at Women's Red Daily. I did a lot of stuff for the Sunday Times.
Right.
And one day I got a call from somebody at NBC, a letter actually saying, what do you look like? Because we like your writing. That's when they cared about writing and expression and so on. So I went to see him, and 6 months later I was working there at NBC.
Wow.
And I had to learn a lot of new stuff, like how to be a filmmaker.
Well, first of all, did they instantly try you out for Human Interest, or were they testing you as an
No,
anchor?
I started my first season. I was the drama critic at NBC. Then Peter Lindstrom wanted it so badly they gave it to her, and I said, "Oh well, who cares? Who cares? I just like doing stories, little stories. I like going out to Queens and Brooklyn, and my God, I did every neighborhood in the whole tri-state area. My God. The Emmys that I won were things like my portrait of odd things like my portrait of Mamaroneck, which I turned into a Rossini opera. Mamaroneck. Do you recognize that? That's the Barbara Seville.
Yes.
And the overture. Then I did Ho Hocus, where the crocus first awoke us, and we'll sing this to you, choke us. In Ho Hocus, NJ, that won an Emmy too. Then I did another one on Eltingville in Long Island, which has more above ground pools than any town of its size in America.
Yeah.
Above ground pools, and we went in every damn pool in the whole town. It was great.
Do you have a favorite?
That's the kind of stuff I like to do.
What was your favorite one or two pieces that you did in those days?
People ask that all the time, and I used to say, well, the one I did yesterday, or the one I'm doing tomorrow. What do you think of that?
Right.
Because I couldn't tell you what my favorite piece was. I did so many, and there were certain characters that I developed, and there were certain, I have anecdotes I tell about certain stories, so I guess in a sense they were my best stories. There was a wonderful woman in Brooklyn named Corky Schmertzler, and I used to put her in as many stories as I could until they told me to stop.
Corky Schmertzler?
Her real name was Frida. She lived on Ocean Parkway. Corky Schmertzler. Schmertzler.
Oh my God!
That's a great name. You know her.
Well, of course, I come from Ocean Parkway too at one point. So yes, we know it very well. We have a question that came in from the gallery there. Also, were there any stories that you did that never made it to the air for any particular reason?
No, that's not true. That never happened. They were so hard up for material. They'd take anything. And that's why they called me a good soldier, because I could always give them a product every day. A lot of reporters would go out, not a lot, a few. Some of the more narcissistic ones would go out and say, well, I couldn't see myself in this story, and they come back with nothing. Or, I didn't think I looked good on camera today. You have no idea how many lazy sluts there are in the news business.
Okay.
And they would say to me, Chauncey, can you give me some advice? How can I become a better reporter? I said, well, first of all, you have to stop stroking your glottis. This one girl said to me, I loved her. She was so sweet. But she said, would you look at my stories and tell me what you think? And I said, well, they're great. I love you. I suspend disbelief entirely. Everything you do is wonderful, and you're beautiful. She said, no, come on, tell me. She got so nudge-a-dick. You know that expression? Nudge-a-dick?
Yeah, nudge-a-dick, yes.
And she kept pushing me. So I said, okay, run that tape again. Let's see this one. Stop. Well, what did I do wrong? No, it's not what you did wrong. It's that you stroked your glottis again. You keep stroking your glottis. She said, show me. I said, look, there. Listen to that. Did you hear what you just said? You said, he didn't. Then she said, no, I didn't say he didn't. Yes, you did. You said he didn't. Now, if you can correct that, you'll be perfect.
Yeah. All you ask her to do is correct that. There you go. I mean,
there's so many mistakes like that.
Were there any stories?
Oh, you love this. There's one nice old Jewish lady stopped me on the street and said, Chauncey, why are there so many girls on TV doing the news, and they've got all that long hair? What do you call that length of hair that they have? And I said, that's called curva length. Oh, yeah, right. Then why are they? And I said, well, they're all, you can blame your nephews and your grandsons and all those nice Jewish boys that are very active in the TV field and have a lot of say. You can blame them because they still want, and she leaned forward and said, shiksas. I said, that's it. It's the shiksa problem. It'll never go away.
Oh, let me tell you, I've had my share of shiksa problems. Let me tell you. We're talking with Chauncey Howell, by the way. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. We're in the Daverhood with me, Rabbi Sol Solomon, Chauncey Howell from the TV News. Now take us through, though, the timeline. You started first on Eyewitness News, and then you went to Live at 5? Or
NBC.
Oh, ABC, right?
I started at NBC in 1973, and I stayed there for about 16, 17 years.
So you were on Live at 5 first.
I got lured over to ABC Eyewitnesses, where I was there for about 7 years.
Wow.
Then they didn't renew my contract because I cost too much, as my agent said. And I said to him, "That's your fault, motherfucker. I just do it for the fun. You do it for the money. You take 10% of all that." Anyway, this is the same agent that drove Al Roker crazy and a few others, nice people that I worked with, that ended up having bad experiences with this guy. But anyway, then I went to, because they liked me out on Long Island, I went to News 12 Long Island, and I stayed there about 10 years.
Oh my God.
And then you retired, or what happened after that?
Well, I retired. I worked till I was about 78. That's long, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was working longer than most people.
True.
Because I could still do it.
And you still sometimes post things on the interweb. You still...
Well, I put stuff on Facebook, but it's different stuff. It's me singing songs. And they get quite a bit of attention. I did a couple of Irish songs around St. Paddy's Day.
Right.
And I'm working on Glowworm. You know Glowworm from
Glow,
1903
glow.
by Paul Linka?
Right, yeah. Do a glowworm thing. Sing a song.
Shine, little glowworm, glimmer, glimmer. Shine, little glowworm, shimmer, shimmer. Lead us lest too far we wander. Loud sweet voices calling yonder. I have to vocalize a bit this morning before I sing again.
Yeah, nobody should sing before 11
I
o'clock
sing
in
in
the morning.
German to the original German. Glühwürmchen.
Wow.
Shimmer, shimmer. See, I'm still learning it.
A Jew hears German. I suddenly feel very afraid.
If you look on Facebook, look me up on Facebook, Chauncey, CHAUNCEY, Howell, and you'll see some of my stuff. And I put one on the other day, an Italian song.
Ooh.
Avucella, it's in Neapolitan, it means the little mouth. Si come un usciorillo, tu tiene la vucella, no poco corillo, passogliatella.
Oh, very
That's a
nice.
beautiful song.
You do have a facility.
By Paolo Tosti, to words by Gabriele D'Annunzio, and the two of these guys got together to create an encore song for Caruso.
Oh.
And this was it. It's called The Little Mouth. You've got a little mouth, it's like a rosebud, and it's starting to fade. No poco corillo pasoliatel, starting to fade, probably for lack of kissing.
Oh,
Isn't that lovely?
those
So
Neapolitans.
give me one, give me a kiss. Damilo, damilo, tu tiene una vucella. You got such a cute little mouth, so give me one, give me a kiss. It goes on like that, and it's really adorable.
I'm going to talk now. Okay, so, well, Chauncey, so,
Damilon,
yeah.
excuse me?
Do you have any?
One and take one. Damilo, pigliatilo, nuvaso piccerillo, nuvaso piccerillo. Oh, I forgot.
Well, it
I'm
sounds.
having a lapse.
Speaking
Well,
of,
I'm 83, so
speaking
I'm
of,
allowed a lapse.
but before we forget, speaking of memories, must have been nuts back in the day of those heydays of both Live at 5 and Eyewitness. Any memories of the people that we all remember growing up watching? People like Roger Grimsby, Bill
Roger
Buttel.
Grimsby, I didn't know that well. I knew him, but he had left. They pushed him away. He stayed home and was paid over $1 million a year to just stay at home.
Because it was
I don't
drunk.
think they liked his alcoholic image. Capital Cities, which had bought ABC.
Yeah.
And they were the people that brought me over to Channel 7.
Right.
But while I was at Channel 4, I worked with Chuck Scarborough a lot. He's a dear friend of mine, as is Sue Simmons. And Mrs. Jonas Schimmel would call me every night after the show and say, "Chauncey, I love the way you pull on the, what's the Yiddish word for tails? Schwänzen? Schwänze?
Oh, I don't
I
know.
love the way you pull on their tails, those goyim." And I finally told her, she thought I was Jewish.
But
And he told her I wasn't Jewish, and she was.
Well, you had sort of a Hamishy Jewish
I said I
image.
use a lot of Yiddish, but I use a lot of Italian too.
Yeah, but we should mention that Yoga Schimmel, he's mentioning Mrs. Yoga Schimmel, there's a Knish store that has been,
So there was a Knish King. You remember Mrs. Stark
No.
from out in, what's that, right next to Coney Island? Brighton Beach.
Oh, right now.
Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
She was a Knish lady too.
Can I ask,
Big deal.
when you were still writing, before even the TV stuff, what kind of stories did you end up writing? You wrote for Esquire and Playboy.
Yeah, I was a Playboy restaurant reviewer for years, but I wasn't a good food writer, so I let them. But they didn't care. They just wanted me to write a entertaining piece about a restaurant so that their viewers they could put it in the front of the magazine, and so I was quite a writer, and that's how I got to TV because they wanted to see what I looked like.
Huh.
They said, "What do you look like?" And I had a little bump on my forehead, a cyst. We'll have that removed. I said, "Oh, thank you. I want to be. Am I good looking enough? Yeah, you're okay looking. You look normal. That's what we want. People that look normal."
Well, you're certainly.
You're a cute guy too. You've got a lovely punim. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, you're very sweet. You're very kind, and I thank you so much. You know, so
You're
get me on TV.
looking.
I guess I am on TV at the moment. There's a story about you and being a paper boy.
A paper boy. Oh, well, I mind that mine, if you will. I was a paper boy here in this town that I live in Pennsylvania when I was a kid.
Right.
And I sort of relished it because it was so entertaining to meet all these people. I think, and I wrote a story called A Thud on the Porch.
Right.
And so I have many memories of my paper boy days.
No, but there was a story about
It was
either
part
announcing.
of my repertoire for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a good stand-up, by the way. I give speeches mostly to. I used to give a lot of speeches, and it's mostly telling stories about my career, funny stories. And the one that was most popular is about a famous anchorman. You can probably guess who.
Yeah.
Who once called me into his office and said, "Chauncey, did you hear the story I read tonight about the man being tried in absentia?" And I said, yeah, I lied, of course. And he said, "Let me ask you a question. Shut the door. Would you shut the door? Sit down. Let me ask you, where is absentia?"
Oh my God.
That really happened?
Yes. And then I, thinking fast because I am very glib, I said, "Oh, it's in the Balkans. Yes, it's in the Balkans. It's right next to placenta. And Miscellanea, and they're both nasty little Muslim countries, and you don't want to get tried for anything there because they still practice impalement." So, isn't that a wonderful story?
Now I also want to give you a chance to expiate or something, because one of the things with you is you've got all these pieces that you do on Facebook. You've got the videos, the singing and the songs. But I don't know if you know this, but if people Google you, one of the things that unfortunately comes up is one little incident that somebody wrote about on the Long Island Railroad, where they're calling you a racist and tell your side.
Well, I was with this fellow named Dave Kaplan, who was a lawyer. He was going out to Mineola, and there was what happened in Jamaica. The conductors were pulling this poor black man out of the men's room because he was trying to cheat on the fare.
Oh, on the train.
And
yeah.
And I said to Kaplan, I said, "Well, we're in Jamaica now. That's all I said. My God." And they had him down on the floor. It was terrible. And this woman decided that she was trying to overhear what I was saying to Kaplan.
Right. But she assumed you were implying.
Is it still there?
Oh, it's still there. It's one of the things that comes up first when anybody Googles your name. That's the issue. So people read about you, and it's either your wiki page or it's you being anti-black, which is not
I'm not
true.
anti-black.
Right.
I used to do more black stories than anybody else. In fact, one of the black cameramen said, "Black people like you a lot." And I said, "Why do you think?" And he said, "I don't know, because you're just so natural with us." And I said, "Like yesterday when this black guy was coming after you because he was jealous that you had an $80,000 camera on your shoulder and you had a terrific job. And I said, get the fuck out of here and leave him alone. And he said, well, yeah, you do things like that. You're so outspoken and natural. That's why we like you.
Cass, did you ever accidentally curse on the air or?
No, I never did that. Other people did. I was just thinking about a man called me up who was so angry at me because I let somebody on a live remote use the word tuchus.
Oh, tuchus, come on.
And I said, I can't help it if they want to say tuchus. I couldn't stop him. He said, that's terrible. You let him say, no, I didn't let him say tuchus.
But wait, I want to, this is really interesting to me because now everything's digital. It's so fast. You tape it, you do it, you in-camera edit. Back when you had to do it in the 1970s, you went out, you were on the street. Take us through like the timeline of getting up in the morning, doing a story, going back to the office, cutting it together on, I guess, Steamboats.
I came in early in the morning, and then we would decide what I was going to do today, or they just say, go out and find something, which is usual, because I could always find something, and I did about hundreds, it seemed, of portraits of little towns and villages and neighborhoods.
Right.
And I just go to those places, and I have a knack for doing that and drawing people out, and most of the stories about the people. Excuse me. So that people at the office at NBC and also at ABC would say, why don't you get down to Greenwich Village where you live? I said, no, they're too snotty down there. They said, oh, TV, I don't want to be on TV. Oh, God. I said, well, why don't you go to the Upper West Side? No, they're worse there. I have to go up to Queens and places like that where real people live. I remember a woman on the Upper West Side said to me, I was doing some story and I can't remember what it was, but I liked her. I wanted her in this story. And then she said, she had to say to me, well, of course, I never watched Channel 7 or Channel 4. I watch PBS only. And I said, oh, by the way, when is this story going to be on? I said, why do you care? You're not going to be in it. She said, what? I just cut you out, I said, because you patronized me.
Good for you.
Then she was begging me to keep me nicer and put her on TV.
Did you?
I put her on anyway, but I thought these people are so haughty and hoity-toity on the west side and the village, and we don't want. And out on Long Island, they say, "Why don't you go to Muttontown?" I said, "Those people don't want to be on TV. I have to go to Jericho or I have to go to Mineola. Those people want to be on TV. They're real people. They love being on TV, and I love putting them on TV."
So,
anyway.
But I want to know the process. Like, how long would it take?
Well, then I go out around noon. I'd be 11 or 12 or 1. I'd still be working. Then we'd come back to the office, and I'd go to the editing room. When I was on Long Island, because they didn't have a union, I did all my own editing. I'm a very good editor. But I learned from other editors at NBC, and particularly at NBC. That's when I learned the craft from these older guys. And I remember my very first day, an old Irish sound man said to me, "Chauncey, talk right into the camera and don't talk with a deep, phony voice like these other reporters." Like we had one named Deep Throat. We call him Deep Throat. But his voice was down there, and they all talked in a phony, fake way. And he said, this old Irishman said, "Talk like yourself, like you're talking to me." And he was so right.
Yes.
He was so right, and it sticks in my mind.
But
because I was trying to sound like a newsman before that, because all the others were doing that. Remember Jim Van Sickle?
The name, Jim Van Sickle.
He had a wonderful voice, very orotund.
Yeah. Can I ask, were you working
on... me one day.
Yeah.
He said, "You have made a pretty good career for yourself with a really shitty voice." And I said, "Well, I guess it goes with my shitty face."
Oh.
Because so many of their voices didn't go with their faces. But Jim's face did go with his voice, or his voice went with his face. I don't remember.
Do you have any Roseanne?
Nice, but he was very envious.
Do you have any Roseanne Scammer?
Envy and spite, a lot of it in TV.
Do you have any Roseanne Scamardella stories?
No, I didn't really know her that well. I knew her. Yeah, I did know her, but I can't tell you about her except that she was very natural.
Ooh.
And I was at NBC when she was at ABC, and then she left, but I knew her. And Ernie Anastas is another sweet person. I loved him.
Oh.
He's a sweet, wonderful person.
How about Sue Simmons?
I have to tell you that.
And you say you're still friends with Sue Simmons. She was really nice.
Sue Simmons and I were very close. We lived, I sat next to her for 9 years. And I have so many stories about her, which I can't tell because she's kind of outspoken herself.
Yeah. Hey, are there any people that you worked with who maybe are now dead who are not so nice? So you can tell.
A lot of them are,
Ooh.
unfortunately.
No, but I mean who are not nice people but seem nice on the air.
Who were not nice people. I thought some of the network people were not nice. I thought Tom Brokaw was not a nice person. And Willard Scott caught me in the hall one day. He was a sweetheart. And he said, Chauncey, but he was also a troublemaker. And he would say, Chauncey, that Tom Brokaw is so mean. He makes fun of me in the office. The Today Show was right down the hall from us. And I said, oh, it's terrible, Willard. Then Willard said, he also makes fun of you.
Oh,
And I said, why? Why would he make fun of me? I'm just a local TV reporter. I'm nothing. He said, no, he hates what you do. He hates it. It's not news, he says. And he makes fun of you. I said, really? And I was very disturbed by that. So a couple of months later, I'm in an elevator and Tom gets on. We're all alone in the elevator. I could have kicked the shit out of him, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually a big person. People are surprised when they see me and see how big I am.
Well, you got big. You're stocky
I'm
now.
a bit. I used to be.
Yeah.
I used to be 6'1". Now I'm about 5'11", I think. As you get older, you shrink. Anyway, I said, "Hi, Tom," and he said, "Hello, Chauncey." You know, he has a lisp. Hello, Chauncey. He said, "Hi, how are you?" And then I said, "Tom, I hear from Willard that you do a wonderful impersonation of me. I would just love to see it." And he got so scared, he jumped off the elevator.
Oh, my.
Lunged at those buttons, and one of them took, and doors open, and he was out.
Wow.
But I would say I didn't like him.
Yes.
But Edwin Goodman, do you remember him?
Wait, Edwin Newman? Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, yes.
He was a dear friend, and I used to eat lunch with him a lot.
Oh, that's so
His whole
nice.
interest in life, at one point it seemed, was getting rid of the word hopefully. And he put it so perfectly. He said, hopefully is an adverb. You can't use it in place of, you can't use it in place of expressions like I hope or it is hoped that. You can't say, hopefully it's going to rain tomorrow. That's not bad. That's not good English. He said, hopefully can be used only in two instances. One is in the army marched hopefully into battle, or the bride walked hopefully down the aisle.
I get it. I'm terrible with this. I'm something of a stickler for grammar, but I will use hopefully all the time. Hopefully I'll stop doing it.
So don't use it.
Yeah.
It's very awkward. It's not good usage.
I know. Shame on
It's
me.
a solophysm.
By the way, we have had a delightful and hopeful conversation here with Chauncey Howell. So, Chauncey, remind people.
Flattering. You're making a big fuss over me.
Well, you're adorable, you're fun, you're voluble, you're lively, you're just great to talk to, and you have so many things to say and so many stories. And people can see your Facebook page, Chauncey Howell, Howell. Well, talk to me. What? Oh, did you ever write a book? Do you have a memoir?
No, I never did. I gave a lot of speeches, and I've sort of used those as a memoir. But I never wrote a book.
Can people?
I decided to be a raconteur or a storyteller, and not a book writer. I had too much writing. I spent a whole year at Women's Wear Daily doing obituaries when I was young.
Oh.
I came out. The Army was good to me because I learned how to type in the Army. I'm a wizard typist. And that's why I had no trouble in the news business. A lot of people have trouble because they can't handle the typewriter.
Huh.
And I could just sit down and not look at it and just type. Well, anyway, this guy called me when I was at Women's and said, "Hello, Mr. Howell. I want for you should know that my partner just 15 minutes ago dropped dead here in the office." They had a little underwear firm of some kind. Underwear imports.
Yeah.
And he said, my partner just 15 minutes ago dropped dead in the office. I want for you should give us an advertisement. I said, you mean an obituary? And he said, whatever you call it. Isn't that funny? And I think he called me before he called the widow.
Oh, good. Well, you know, when you write an obituary for someone who's in the underwear business, you have to keep it brief.
Exactly. Oh, you're good. I love the way you talk. You know, you're a free associate of idiot, which is wonderful. Like me.
That's the greatest compliment I've ever been paid. I'm a free associate of idiot.
A free associate of idiot.
Oh my God, what could be better than that?
That's true. That's what makes discourse. That's what makes communication between people. Idiocy.
Well, you are certainly not an idiot. You are a delight, Chauncey Howell. It's been a lovely thing talking to you.
Get rid of me now. You want to get me off?
Well, I would love to invite you back. In fact, you call in whenever we're on the show. We would love to hear from you because there's so much fun. And do come back to the Daverhood. I do have one last question for you because I'm just purely curious because you know the producer of this program, Dave, he has been a theater critic for decades. So he is curious. What do you remember, like the first show that you reviewed on TV when you were a theater critic? Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember, but I was famous for the fact that I would cry on camera. And it was largely due to the fact that I was exhausted after having worked all day and then having to run over to Broadway to see some wretched thing and then run back because I couldn't find a cab, run back to Rockefeller Center and bang out a review. I didn't like being a reviewer. There was one play called Mornings at 7, and it was so wonderful. Yeah. I just got so teary when I talked about it. And nobody cried on camera, and I was the first person to laugh on camera. Nobody was natural on TV, in the news especially. And I remember when David Merrick was so wicked at the end of
Hello, Dolly?
42nd Street, when he held off the news that Gower Champion had died and came out and told the cast, that is, they're taking their bows, and they were buoyed with a sense of achievement and happiness. They were so happy, and we were all applauding, and I'm heading up the aisle because to get out of the building first so I can get over to the NBC, and I had to turn around because the publicist came rushing for us. No, wait. David Merrick's going to make a speech. So we didn't want to hear that, but he made a speech, and it was though he was there to torture these kids. They felt as though they had been poleaxed onto the floor. And, I look upon theater reviewing as a form of reporting.
Right.
It's just like restaurant reviewing was reporting. What happened in the restaurant? What was going on? Not the food so much. Who cares about the food? We don't have taste of vision. We don't have smell-o-vision. You have to tell about human things that happen.
Yeah.
One guy had a restaurant that was that I said was like the decor was like a British regimental mess from India or something from the 19th century, and I said the decor was in the best snot-nosed traditions of the British mess. British regimental mess. And this guy told me that night people flocked to the restaurant because they read the review. And he said there was one word that brought them. And I said, what was that? And he said, snot nose. Because everybody wants to be beat up on, I guess, or patronized or condescended to.
Well.
Anyway, so I cried over what David Merrick said as I told how awful it was.
Well, it's a very famous story now. It's a good thing. You know, reviewers sometimes would leave before the curtain calls. They would leave even late into the second act to bang out their stories. And if you had left 2 minutes earlier, you would have missed everything. You would have missed the news.
That's why I was grateful, in a sense, that the publicist stopped me and made me not leave, but wait to hear what David Merrick had to say.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I saw what happened, and that was the story, really. The play was very good and very successful.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
it has been a great success having
Chauncey. I look upon TV as something we've never seen before. It's not like theater. It's not like newspapers. It's totally different. And there's very little room on TV for theater reviews. In fact, the more avant-garde people I knew on TV in the news business, they wanted to get rid of all that stuff, that apparatus from newspapers, like the garden column.
Yeah.
They even had a bridge column on some shows. They don't have that anymore. That's probably why they don't look at newspapers for future talent.
Well, I mean, because they used to have...
in a way, but it's understandable. They want good storytellers. And they want sexy-looking people.
Well, no, but I remember back in the day, Katie Kelly, or Katie Kelly was not Katie Kelly, she wrote the biographies of Katie Kelly. Joel Siegel.
Katie Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, they had these people.
She's a friend of mine, and the reason she wore bow ties was that I wore bow ties. I gave her a lot of bow ties. So I didn't wear them. But when I went to NBC, they told me they decided, Earl Ubell, who was our boss, and decided I looked good in a bow tie and I should look like a school teacher from Brooklyn. And then Frank Field, who hated him, said, well, trying to make you look like him, trying to make you look like him, a school teacher from Brooklyn, and you don't want to be that. I wore fake glasses for a while that they made me wear, and then I took them off and sat on them one day, so I couldn't wear them. But I kept the bow tie, and the bow tie became quite a signature.
It was your thing, that's right. And thanks for mentioning Frank and Storm Field. I totally forgot about them.
Frank was my hero. He was so kind and wonderful to me. He would say things like, when you have nothing to do, Chauncey, walk out of Rockefeller Center and just stand there, and when people are looking in your direction, wave at them, and it takes about 10 years before they recognize you. And then you're famous. Yeah, my God, it's wonderful. That's how it works.
But it's a pleasure to talk. Yeah.
So Frank was great. There was nobody like him.
Oh, my. It has been... Well, there's nobody like Chauncey Howell, obviously. There's nothing like this man. Get on his Facebook page.
I watched Anchorman try to put Frank down, because they were jealous. And Frank would just play his old avuncular, ugly self, his, what do you call it? What's the Yiddish word for uncle?
Oh, my God. The
grandfather.
I should know this.
Zeta self. He was just so great. And the audience loved him. And they get so jealous when they do surveys and find out that Frank was more famous than they were.
Oh, boy. Hey.
Because he was giving people what they wanted, which is a nice, fatherly, avuncular, uncly person.
But
telling them about the weather.
That's what happens with TV news, though. You watch and you see the same people day after day. They become almost family, and then they're gone for 2 weeks. And it's funny. You're just like, they evaporate. It's unlike in sitcoms where you remember someone.
When I left NBC to go to ABC, they actually told the woman at the switchboard in the newsroom, when people would call and say, "Where's Chauncey? I missed Chauncey. Where's Chauncey? He wasn't there today." I was already over on ABC. They didn't know that. But they were informed to tell them, this lady on the switchboard was told to tell them that I had died.
Oh.
Can you imagine that? Oh, he died. Oh, boy.
Yeah, well,
I'm flattered that they cared so much.
Chauncey Howell is not, thank God, that he's alive and obviously very, very well. Go to his Facebook page, Chauncey Howell. Watch his videos. Watch his history. Hopefully I used that word wrong. We hope we will be talking to you.
If I were there, I'd take a ruler and hit you on the wrist.
Oh, I'm sure, or elsewhere. But
as your piano teacher should have done to you.
Oh, I did. Chauncey Howell, what a delight. Most happy holidays to you. And just
you too, darling.
Good health, continued good things to you, and shalom to you.
Well, I'm sitting here. I'm not really up yet. I'm wearing my bathrobe.
Okay, we don't need to know that.
You can't see that, can you? Unfortunately.
No, we're not back and forth here. We just have the voice, but what a wonderful voice it is. And
thank you.
And we thank you.
It does a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's a great voice.
You're wonderful, and I'm so flattered that you invited me. It's so nice to be with a guy like you.
Oh,
a sweetheart.
I'm telling.
I could give you a clip on your Burnham if I were there.
Oh, a clip.
As I did to Mayor, what's his name? Mayor Dinkins, remember him?
Yeah, of course. David Dinkins, yeah.
Person he was, but a nice man.
Yeah.
Really foolish. At one point, doing a live Ramones, and I grabbed him by his cheek and I said, "Imagine I'm your Aunt Selma, and I'm giving you a knip on your punum, but I pulled on his cheek, and he was so stunned, he looked right in the camera and went, as I pulled on his punum, on his cheek. And afterwards, he said, when it was over, he said, "You are crazy. You are crazy. I like you, but you're crazy."
I'm surprised Secret Service didn't
rushed
step.
back into City Hall, and his PR people came running over to me saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. You helped make them look human. You make them look human. Oh, thank you."
Oh,
I
my
said,
God.
"Well, listen, I know who his girlfriends are because I work with one of them."
Okay.
So I'm going to be natural with him, of course.
Yeah.
Mayor Koch is my favorite. I have a picture of Mayor Koch that is so wonderful. He's giving me a look. I'm holding the mic in his direction. He's giving me this look like, he said, "Who's your daddy?" That's the look he's giving me. And he was my daddy. I'll tell you, he was wonderful. He just loved me, and I loved him too because, you know, was is auf dem Liegen is auf dem Zing, what's on your lung is on your tongue. The same with me. I told him that one day. I said, "Mr. Mayor, you know you have that thing that what's on your lung is on your tongue. Was is auf dem Liegen is auf dem Zing." That's the Galiciana version. If you want it in Litvak, it's was is auf dem Lung is auf dem Zung.
Wow.
And whatever pops into your head, you just say it. And that's why you're great.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
It pops into my head to thank you again so much for
thank
being
you.
with us.
Thank you. I'll say goodbye then.
And yes, and a big shalom to you.
A shalom to you, my darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Chauncey Howell! My God, Chauncey Howell! Was that fabulous or what? Was that unbelievable or what? Oh, I'm
That
so
was
feeling.
10 out of 10.
I'm 10. That was a 12 out of 10.
That was
18 out of 10. Chauncey Howell in the Daverhood talking to me, Rabbi Sal Solomon. If you want to know more about Chauncey Howell, do go to his Facebook page, Chauncey Howell, as Chauncey spelled the usual way, even though nobody's named Chauncey anymore. Howell, Howell, like Thurston and Lovey. Go to enjoy his work. I wish there were more archives of his stuff that he was doing. If he had 8,000 pieces on TV all those years, God knows they're on videotape somewhere. If there's an archive at the Museum of TV and Radio, I hope there is, because obviously he's a very unique and fun character. Chauncey Howell in the Daverhood. Oh, speaking of the Daverhood and of Dave, I see him. He's coming in right now. I gotta go get him. So just wait here for a moment, and Dave will continue with Dave's Gone By. Dave, are you there? Dave. Well, thanks, Rabbi. Thanks. Wonderful job. Love talking. Rabbi Saul's going to be back, by the way. He'll be.
How come you both dressed alike?
Well, we have a limited wardrobe here. We don't have NBC's wardrobe budget, so we wind up wearing the same shirt. It's kind of strange. But Rabbi Saul will be back with StoryTime, talking about the laws of Pesach, which is a digest by Rabbi Avram Blumenkrantz. And by the way, it's not recent. So if you want to see what Passover was like in 2006, or as we like to say, 5766, keep it right here on the Dave's Gone By Facebook channel, which, by the way, is finally called Dave's Gone By. So if you were looking for Radio Dave Lefkowitz, that doesn't work anymore. It's now Dave's Gone By on Facebook. Also, of course, davesgoneby.com for 16 and a half years worth of archives of the program, because we've saved just about every single program that we have done since 2002. They're mostly audio. We're a radio show essentially. And you can get them from our first show, our 10th show, our 100th, our 500th. They're all up there. They're all free. You can download them. You can stream them on the computer. You can skim through them. If there's parts that you don't want to hear or parts you want to hear again, you can go back. It's all at davesgoneby.com. And not only that, when we get amazing guests and fun conversations like we just had with Chauncey Howell, we have even a separate archive of just the interviews if you want to hear the whole shows. So, and those are alphabetically listed. It's all at davesgoneby.com. Do, of course, check it out. And remember that if, let's say, you missed the first part of this program or any part of it, or you want to share it with other people, it's great that we have so many people watching live, but remember, you can scroll through our Facebook page tomorrow or a week from now and rewatch the show or we'll take the video, we take the audio, we put it up on my website, davesgoneby.com, and you can all see it there. So please give it a look, davesgoneby.com. If you want to write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com is the way to do that. Well, it's 10:35 in the morning Eastern Time here in the Daverhood with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who I never had the chance to introduce. So, hi, Joyce.
That's okay. I'm doing my work. I'm fascinated by Chauncey Howell.
I know, right?
He would be a great co-host.
What an amazing, I won't get a word in, but it would take some of the onus off me.
It's like living with you, Dom. It's like living with you, Dom.
Oh,
How
man.
you feel the shoe. He should write a book.
He should.
And then he should do an audio book. It would be killer.
Well, if he's doing all these speeches, he could compile the speeches into, so he wouldn't have to go through the horrors of actually physically writing chapter after chapter of a memoir. He could kind of put the speeches together and collect it that way, which would be a lot easier. More like a Charles Carolti on the road sort of thing. Who's the guy who does that locally in Colorado? That kind of human interest thing.
Oh, Dan Carew.
Oh, yes, Dan Daru.
Dan Daru.
Yeah.
Like Man on the Street.
Right, that sort of thing. And little human interesty
He talks
kind
about
of
like
pieces.
a pet shop or a new brewery or eats a steak or he goes
Right.
to a skate park.
Goes to a matzo factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I going with that? Well, whatever. Where I'm going with this is we have more to do of the program. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. We have Storytime with Rabbi Saul. And what else do we even have time for? We also will go right now, actually, inside Broadway, because as I mentioned, as Rabbi Saul Solomon mentioned to Chauncey Howell, I am a theater person. I was a theater journalist. I've been a theater critic for 30 years, an actor, a director, and so forth. And so I love the theater, love talking about Broadway and off-Broadway, and sharing the exciting information of what's going on in the theater with all of you. And so we call that weekly segment Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Inside Broadway we go, and we do it every week here on Dave's Gone By, because as I say, if you want to know about movies, look everywhere. Look at every news show, look at every newspaper, every internet thing. You know what movies are coming out, the interviews with the stars, who's in them. If you want to know about music, the latest albums coming out, what happened at the Grammys, that's everywhere. But if you're in New York, you have some theater coverage that's pretty prevalent. But elsewhere, people don't know what's happening on Broadway, and it's an exciting place. And speaking of exciting, by the way, I'm excited to mention that Janine was tuning in. Good morning, she says, and good night. Catch you later. Have a blessed holiday. Well, thanks, Janine, for saying hi.
It's like shalom.
Yeah, it's like, good morning, good night, hello. She has her leg in 2 different time zones,
Oh,
perhaps.
wow, that's cool.
Michael also, and Leith, welcome to Leith, and Dennis, and David. Oh my gosh, David, I hope that you are well, and that you're getting better, and it's so good that you're tuning in. So, inside Broadway we go for news of the Rialto. We just finished the penultimate week of the Broadway season. We got 1 more week to go with like 4 or 5 Broadway shows opening before the season's over because they're all crammed in towards the end. So really, I just want to let you know about all these shows that are happening right now on Broadway. Before I do that, though, this is kind of a teaser, I want to let you know that the Pulitzer Prizes were announced this past week. And the winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Drama has gone to a play called Fairview by Jackie Sibley's Drury. It ran off-Broadway at Soho Rep a while ago. It's going to come back off-Broadway in June. It's all about a Black family and kind of a semi-dysfunctional family, which feels almost like, I haven't seen it, but apparently, if you read the reviews, it starts as almost a sitcom, pretty familiar stuff, and then it just gets weirder and deconstructed and more I don't want to say dark, because I honestly don't know if it gets darker, but it just gets much more intriguing as it goes along. Finalists, by the way, for the Pulitzer Prize were Heidi Schreck's What the Constitution Means to Me, which just opened on Broadway a couple of weeks ago and is worth a look, although I have my issues with it. I did see it. Claire Barron's Dance Nation, which I do not know about. And this is kind of cool in this Me Too or hashtag Me Too era, that this is the fourth time in history that the winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and both of the finalists are all women. So a mazel tov on that, whatever that means. But congrats, of course, to Jackie Sibley's Drury for winning the Pulitzer Prize for Fairview. Want to let you know about some shows that are opening in the week ahead. As a matter of fact, opening tomorrow night on Broadway at the Booth Theater. It's going to be one of the weirder, wilder shows of the whole season, on or off Broadway. There's a playwright whose work I'm really not familiar with. His name is Taylor Mack, and he does really off-the-wall, sometimes gender-oriented stuff. Check out what he's doing. It's a show called Gary. It's a comic, very dark, comic sequel to Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus. And the idea is, Titus it just ends with a well of blood, as some Shakespeare plays do. And these are the people who are cleaning up after it. And so they're commenting, they're stacking bodies, there's blood to clean up. This is the show. It's called Gary, a sequel to Titus Andronicus. Check out the cast. Nathan Lane, starring. That's enough reason to go see anything. Nathan Lane is the star. It was supposed to co-star Andrea Martin. Oh, okay. I'm doing that thing with the glottis there. Andrea Martin, but she hurt herself. She like broke her foot or her leg in rehearsals, had a bow out, and they got the wonderful actress Christine Nielsen to take her place. She's in the show as well. It's directed by George C. Wolfe, so you got some serious names here. In fact, the music is by Danny Elfman, the guy who did the music for the Pee Wee Herman movie and was in Oingo Boingo and all that. And what else? Oh, and Julie White is also in Gary, a sequel to Titus Andronicus. Oh, actually, I have some more notes that I'm not even looking at. Andrea Martin broke ribs in rehearsal. So that's opening tomorrow at the Booth Theater. And then on Monday night, they're bringing back once again Arthur Miller's classic play, All My Sons. At the Roundabout is doing it at the American Airlines
Now
Theater.
it's called All My Children.
That's right, because we want to do a gender neutral version. So we can't say sons anymore. It's going to be all my gender-free people.
It could be all my offspring.
All my offspring. That rolls off the tongue.
All my zygomatic processes.
Yeah. No, they're not playing with gender in this show. It's going to be a classic, standard, All My Sons. It features, check this out, Annette Bening,
Ooh.
and the lead actor is playwright, Pulitzer-winning playwright Tracy Letts, who wrote Osage County and Bug and some other plays as well. So Tracy Letts and Annette Bening starring in this Arthur Miller classic, Jack O'Brien directing. You know the plot. I'm sure you know the plot. It's about this seemingly idyllic suburban family, but Dad has a secret. It was wartime, he was under pressure, and he had to do some stuff, or maybe morally he shouldn't have done some stuff, and then even though you push it under and you try not to talk about, eventually stuff comes out. It's All My Sons. It's opening on Broadway on Monday for a limited run through mid-June. And then yet another show opening on Broadway, big Broadway musical, and we've been talking about this one because it's co-written by a friend of the Daverhood, the brilliant David Yazbek. He's the guy who did The Full Monty. He's the guy who did Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. He also did that. Wow. Is that you having a nervous breakdown?
Yeah.
Okay. He did Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which is one of the funniest, underrated musicals of recent times. Eyeball loves Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels because he's dirty.
That's right. He's dirty and kind of rotten. Not quite a scoundrel. And then the Tony-winning musical, deservedly, from a year ago, The Band's Visit. David Yazbek did that one too. Well, a totally different tack on this one. He's doing Tootsie. That's right, they've adapted
Tootsie, goodbye.
the Gary Marshall classic with Dustin Hoffman. into a musical. Robert Horn doing the book.
Tootsie, don't cry.
With Scott Ellis doing the directing.
Tootsie, goodbye.
Santino Fontana, you'll know him from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's like the boyfriend in that.
Tootsie, goodbye.
Lily Cooper, the wonderful Michael McGrath is in there, or maybe pronounces it McGrath. Julie Holston, our friend in the Daverhood, she's in Tootsie.
Sing Tootsie with me.
Tootsie, goodbye. Tootsie, don't cry. I don't know any other part of it.
Tootsie, you're gone.
Tootsie, you roll. Tootsie comes out of my hole. I don't.
Disgusting.
It kind of is. You asked. Yeah, you forced that one, I guess.
I did not.
You know what Tootsie's about. It's about this actor guy who can't get any jobs because he's temperamental. So at one point he dresses up as a woman and tries out for a soap opera. Well, you know, it's kind of like the Mrs. Doubtfire thing. He gets the part, and now he has to be this woman, and being this woman ends up turning him into a better man. It's called Tootsie. They've made a musical of it, and it is opening Tuesday at the Marquee. Oh, I'm sorry. It is at the Marquee Theater on Broadway. Is there another show opening next week on Broadway? You bet there is. There certainly is. And it's called Ink. And this one, I'm really excited about this one. It's a hit in London by James Graham. It's all about the early days of Rupert Murdoch, just as he was starting to build his empire. Rupert, the guy who owned the New York Post.
I think he owns the world. Ted Turner owns the movies. Rupert Murdoch owns the print.
Oh, that was the print media, man. And what is he? The Daily Mail, is he? Or I could be
He was from
wrong.
the UK. Want me to look it up?
Well, so he was Australian, actually.
Yes, he was.
And owned all this stuff in England. Yeah, what is Rupert Murdoch? What is his ownership stuff?
I don't know how to look up.
And I think Fox?
He does, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the guy is huge and Jewish, by the way. Whether you love him or hate him, but Rupert Murdoch.
It says
Yeah.
he is Australian-born mogul.
Yeah.
His father was Sir Keith Murdoch, a reporter and editor.
Okay.
He's 88 in Melbourne, Australia.
His kids are running the show now mostly, but yeah. And what did he own? Is it the Guardian? Is he I know it's the New York Post.
Commentary on how he remade the world.
Well, yeah.
Ooh.
But what does it say about him on Wiki?
Okay,
don't worry about it.
He owns everything.
Basically owns
I
everything.
believe he owns all print media.
Yeah. That's funny. You don't think of him in terms of TV because maybe he's not allowed to
20th
do.
Century Fox, HarperCollins.
He owns HarperCollins?
His holding company, the News Corporation,
Right.
acquired 20th Century Fox,
Yeah.
HarperCollins in 1989, and the Wall Street Journal in 2007. He has, in 2000, Murdoch's News Corporation owned 800 companies in 50 countries.
Wow.
He News of the World.
Right. Okay.
Regularly hacked the phone of celebrities.
Oh, then we remember that scandal. Yeah.
He left Fox.
What? When?
It said Murdoch left his post as CEO of 21st Century Fox. However, they continue to own 20th Century Fox until 2019 in the News Corp.
Wait, until 2019?
Yeah, but then it doesn't say what happened.
Oh. But I had no idea.
No.
What?
It says in July 2016, resignation of Roger Ailes due to sexual harassment. He was named acting CEO when he got out. Ailes got out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea about publishing. HarperCollins is like one of the biggest trade publishers.
Yeah.
Did not know that. And Wall Street Journal, okay, I get it. And it was always kind of interesting. It was kind of craven decision-making because he himself is not necessarily really conservative. Maybe now that he's a multi-billionaire, he's conservative. But he just went with the tide. And he said, hey, New York needs a conservative newspaper to balance out all these liberal things.
He married Jerry Hall?
Really?
It says he married
After
Jerry
Mick Jagger?
Hall. Yes. Look,
Go figure.
in 2016.
Huh.
Let me do that. Hold on. I saw that. But
Wait, he's 88. She's got to be 60-something.
Wait,
He's robbing the cradle.
married. Okay. Yep. Jerry Hall.
Are they still married?
Yeah, look.
Wow.
It says here, marrying Rupert Hall is absolutely wonderful. Jerry Hall, look.
Who knew?
Jerry Hall has described her wedding to media mogul Rupert Murdoch as absolutely wonderful.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure they spent a lot on chopped liver and a good band. They probably had two DJs. They sprung for an extra DJ in case the first one got tired.
The
I wouldn't be
Jagger
surprised.
family was there, of course.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Who else was there? Who was at the Rupert Murdoch Jerry Hall wedding? Well, he was 85, right? You said they got married in 2016?
Yeah. Georgia May Jagger.
Okay. She may or may not Jagger, I'm not sure.
Murdoch's daughters
Well,
were there.
Okay, sure.
A lot of people.
Huh. Go figure. Go figure. Anywho, why am I talking about it? Oh, because of ink. So before he was a mogul, before he was married to Jerry Hall, before he owned the Wall Street Journal and Fox and 20th Century Fox and all of these things and HarperCollins, he was a guy trying to make his way up in an ambitious way, and he was just pounding the pavement on Fleet Street. This is a play about that. It's called Ink, and it stars Bertie Carvel and Johnny Lee Miller, whom you all know. He plays the Sherlock character on Elementary. So he's on Broadway again. It's opening this coming Wednesday.
They got married in a church. I don't think he's Jewish. St.
What?
Bride's Church.
Why do I think Rupert Murdoch was
He's
Jewish?
not. No, they got married in St. Bride's Church.
Right, but I'm saying, was he born? Can you go back and find?
I don't think
For some reason, I always thought
I
Rupert
never
Murdoch was
saw
Jewish.
anything like
I'm
that.
completely wrong
It
then.
doesn't say in his Wikipedia.
So Jews don't own media.
No.
That's a big lie. Because he certainly does.
It doesn't know.
Oh, why did I think? Ted Turner certainly isn't. So, we own the Jewish press, I think.
Didn't you see a show in Yiddish?
The Allgemeiner Journal. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last 2 weeks ago, I saw Fiddler on the Roof, which was wonderful.
It says Rupert's father, Sir Keith Murdoch, a newspaper publisher, and his mother, an Orthodox Jew, although Murdoch never refers to that information.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He had a Jewish mom. He's technically, unless he
And then
converted.
here it says media mogul something. Jared Kushner once broke up with Ivanka Trump because she wasn't Jewish.
Oh, well, there you go. Anyhow, oh, and by the way, the big news in the 5 towns over the past couple of weeks is apparently, hush, hush, Jared and Ivanka are moving to 5 towns, Long Island, probably like to a mansion, a McMansion in Lawrence. So they're going to be like our walking distance neighbors. They're moving to Hewlett?
I think so. I think they go to Hewlett Harbor. They have a pool and a launch pad.
Well, we should bring cake. We just pay them a little
Why
visit.
would we bring them? I'm not bringing them cake.
Oh, I'm totally ready. I'm going to go to them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, maybe, because I'm not walking so well right lately, and I might just fall and have an accident on their stoop.
No, just bring some of your Russian.
It could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen,
Bring
but I
some-
could accidentally crack something.
Bring some of your Russian friends.
And rather than have a lawsuit, I would be very happy to settle out of court with Jared and Ivanka.
Wow.
For how many zeros, dear?
When the kids are going to what is it,
Well, they are. That's why they're moving. They can go to Hebrew school here.
Yes.
You know, everybody hates them. I don't.
And they
I
can-
honestly don't
and they
hate
can-
Jared and
They
Ivanka.
can take a helicopter to the city when
They
want to
will.
Go out.
There's going to be a helipad where they're living. That's not a joke.
I know.
They're going to have we'll see a helicopter in the air, and it'll be our neighbors. It's going to be the weirdest freaking thing ever. Speaking of weird things, this is Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, doing Inside Broadway on Dave's Gone
Do you need
By.
any coffee or TV?
Oh, I love more coffee if
I'll
you
make
can.
you
I
coffee.
really, really would love some. Thank you ever so much.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me go make some.
I appreciate you can use this cup.
Sure,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will. Milk and
So,
sugar, milk and sugar.
These are shows that are coming up. These are shows that are opening this coming week. We got, as I said, All My Sons, Gary, Tootsie, Ink, all these one title shows. We had shows that were opening this past week on Broadway, also to get through in time to open this particular season. For example, Burn This, the Langford Wilson play. I
What
don't call
about the hummets?
the Langford Wilson, Joyce just said, it's about burning comets for Passover. No, it's not. It opened on Tuesday at the Hudson Theater on Broadway. And I remember, I gotta tell you, I saw the original Burn This on Broadway. The play, at least from memory, not so much. Up and down, very uneven. Some real good passages. Other stuff where you're kind of marking time and it's just a bit all over the place, as Langford Wilson can tend to be, because he's more into people interaction dynamic rather than plot. But okay. However, that original Burn This starred Joan Allen and John Malkovich. And this is going back 25, 30 years ago. And I went to the theater with my father, as we sometimes tended to do back then. And within half a minute of John Malkovich stepping on stage, Dad and I were like, holy crap. He's going to set this room on fire. It was thrilling. We just sat there. I knew Malkovich from True West, seeing that on TV and stuff, and he was already sort of making a name for himself. But when he stormed onto the stage in Burn This, that original one, it was probably like when Pacino came on in American Buffalo, that for with the speech about Ruthie, and then people saw that in the 1970s off Broadway, and they were like, "Oh, who is this guy?" Again, I will never forget that. I don't think it's even matchable, although they're saying that the current guy playing that role, Pale, Adam Driver, he's close. That he does. When he steps on stage, he's got everything. He's sexy, he's incendiary, he's a little scary, he's funny, he's got everything, and he makes the show. That's what a lot of the critics are saying about this revival of Burn This. It also features Carrie Russell, that very, very pretty woman from, Felicity, all those years ago on TV. And then she was in that movie about the American spy. I never saw it, but I think you know what show I'm talking about. This revival is directed by Michael Mayer, and here's the whole plot. It's about this woman who is grieving the death of her best friend, a gay guy. They never actually apparently mentioned that it was AIDS, but he's dead. And so she's down in the dumps, she's upset, and storming into her apartment on an evening is this cook, this guy, this chef, this restaurant owner, and he comes in and he's just ranting and raving and he's scary, and also there's some kind of kismet connection that they have, and soon they fall into bed together and they try to figure out what their relationship is, plus how to get over the losses that they're dealing with. That's basically the show. How did the critics feel about this revival of Burn This that opened this past week? Writing for Deadline.com, Greg Evans, he was kind of meh. To say that Burn This hasn't aged well since 1987 is like pointing at a lopsided old house with a badly built foundation in need of a paint job. It's an AIDS play that doesn't mention AIDS, and it's a love story that demands we take their love on faith because we don't really see it or feel it. But at least it has big showy roles for actors. Carrie Russell, however, is flat and single note, no match for Adam Driver. And I have to say, a lot of the critics kind of felt like that. I mean, certainly it wouldn't be two type A personalities clashing in the play. That's not what the play is. He draws her out of her shell. Still, most of the critics felt that the acting was unmatched here, and that Driver just needed someone bigger and stronger and much more connected, or at least sexually magnetic with him to really make the show go. However, so thank you very, very much. Sarah.
Tell me if it's sweet enough.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. Writing for Vulture.com, Sarah Holdren, she really loved the show. She said that Adam Driver is a human furnace at the show's center. He's straight up great. The show's great. She loved it. Okay. Joe Domanowitz, our friend of the Daverhood, who used to write for the Daily News, now he writes for the New York Post, he gave the show 3 out of 4 stars. Not too bad. He liked Carrie Russell. He said she is just plain beautiful, and that she plays a dancer. She's got the body of a dancer. Not, performance or not. It's nice to look at pretty people on stage. But Adam Driver's performance is wonderfully weird and vanity-free. The show starts slowly, but it also plays up the humor more than some previous incarnations have. Barbara Schuler, writing for Newsday, not so much a fan. She finds it uneven. Carrie Russell seems very stiff and vaguely uncomfortable, and she isn't convincing as a dancer. So they have two different views, literally diametrically opposed about Carrie Russell. Chris Jones, that very fine critic, writing for the Daily News, he kind of liked it. He said, what John Malkovich did in 1987 would be untenable now, because the characters feels a bit racist, feels a bit sexist, we feel a little ooky about things in a way that we didn't 30-something years ago. But Adam Driver finds enough vulnerability, humor, and erotic charge that we still empathize with his concealed pain. Carrie Russell is very appealing, but she needs to make stronger choices. The fire just doesn't burn hot enough. So reviews kind of all over the place. for Burn This on Broadway, although it does sound like Adam Driver's performance is something to see. It's the Langford Wilson play. It's at the Hudson Theater in a limited run on Broadway. Let's tell you about another show that opened this past week on Thursday night at the John Golden Theater. It's a play by Lucas Nath. Now, this is the guy who wrote A Doll's House Part 2 a couple of seasons ago on Broadway, so he's a playwright to watch. And this is really Hillary and Clinton. It's them. It's their story in a way. John Lithgow and Laurie Metcalf playing the titled couple. What did the critics think of Hillary and Clinton? Deadline, Greg Evans wrote, the show peers behind the closed doors of both a marriage and the nation's political machinery. It's a little bit thin, but the cast could not be better. Ben Brantley, he loved Laurie Metcalf. He was writing for the New York Times. Joe Demanowitz, our friend at the New York Post, he gave the show only 1 star out of 4. He said the Barb comedy, and it's interesting because his review is not as nasty or disliking as the 1 star would imply. He said the Barb comedy doesn't lack for laughs, but it rehashes old wounds without fresh insights. The actors are top flight even when the comedy goes lowbrow. If you read the review, it feels more like a 2 or 2.5 star review, but he gave it 1 star, so it goes. Entertainment Weekly's Jessica Shaw gave the show a B+. The actors know every comic beat to hit, and Laurie Metcalf elevates the production with her devastating takedowns. New York Stage Review, the critic there is Jesse Oxfeld. He liked the show. He says Joe Mantello's expertly controlled direction makes for a slim but provocative evening. Hillary and Clinton on Broadway at the John Golden Theater. By the way, speaking of theater, let me tell you something about the theater. Let me tell you something about shows. I can't keep all this stuff in my head. I need some help. Where do I get it? From this journal, from this magazine, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. So this is the place that people in the entertainment industry turn when they want to know everything about every show, on, off, or off Broadway, all the detailed inside information. For example, let's just go paging through it, shall we? Right on page 2, not only a table of contents telling you what's in the magazine, but look at this. All the shows that are currently running from previous seasons, all the shows that opened in 2018, 2019 on Broadway, and then shows that are coming up in the next season. That's all on one page. Next page, Guide to Broadway Theaters and Their Tenants. These are the list, I'll hold it even up closer, of every theater on Broadway, where it's located, who owns it, how many seats it has, and what show is in it and for how long. Literally at your fingertips on a page. And then a guide to all the press agents, the people who handle the promotion of the shows, and when you get house seats, and how the critics get into them. How do you contact them? Here's all that info. And then we get to the beginning of the heart of the magazine, our chronological calendar listing of when every single show starts, previews, opens, and closes on Broadway in the months and days ahead. Moving to off and off Broadway. See, this you can't get anywhere else. This chronological listing. These are all off-Broadway shows that are currently running, right? And then off-Broadway shows that are opening. So this is the April issue. Today is April 20th. Let's see what if anything, is listed for today. Opening today, off-Broadway, a show called Blacks, but it's spelled B-L-K-S, at Manhattan Class Company, a revival of O'Casey's The Plow and the Stars at Irish Repertory Theater, and then closing today, a show that I saw last week called Life Sucks. The play doesn't suck, but it's not really worth checking out. But anyway, that's at the Wheelhouse Theater. It's a Wild Project show. Nassim, which I did like quite a bit, that is closing at City Center, and then a production of No Exit at the Fusion Theater. Those are all literally today. All those things. And how do you find that out? As simply as that, just by looking at that page of Performing Arts Insider. And then we get to the full heart of the magazine, the listings of every Broadway show. And these are the producers and how to contact them, how to contact the writers, the director, the lyricist, the designers, the actors, a synopsis of the show, what theater it's in, the dates that it's playing for every single show currently playing on Broadway, will be opening on Broadway late, well, not much still left to open this season, but in the season ahead, right? And then we do it also for off and off Broadway as well. Every single show, and there's even a chronological listing of awards and special events, which is really important this time of year because all these different awards are happening in theater. There's an index in the back. You need Performing Arts Insider. It comes out 21 times a year, so you can get that full season subscription or just get it 12 times a year, the monthly edition. It's expensive, but the people who get it renew year after year because they know this is the only place to get all this detailed inside information. It's not on the web. There is a website. It's called performingartsinsider.com. But if you want Performing Arts Insider, it is a hard copy. You can read it the old-fashioned way, and don't we still love to do that? To get something in the mail, flip through it, figure out maybe your calendar for theater going, figure out maybe you want to contact some of the folks doing the shows. This is the issue to get. Go to performingartsinsider.com for more information on how to subscribe or send away for a single issue, or you can get a single issue in New York, in Midtown Manhattan, at the Theater Circle store over on West 44th Street. Performing Arts Insider, it is the Bible of Broadway. Well, we're inside Broadway on Dave's Gone By. It's a little bit after 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, here on this Saturday, April 20th, 2019. And it is our 693rd episode of the program. We've been calling it Chaunce's Are, in honor of our guest before, Chauncey Howell. But yeah, we're talking theater. And Chauncey was a theater critic on TV for like a year. So it all ties in very beautifully. Let's talk a little bit more about Broadway. And this, I find this exciting news. One of my favorite plays of the past 20 or so years on Broadway was from 2003. It's Richard Greenberg's Take Me Out, a comedy drama that they're going to be reviving. Second Stage Theater is going to do it at their Helen Hayes Theater that they own and operate now, opening on April 23rd. So it is still this season. This is, what? No. I think that's wrong. Forgive me for that. This is going to be opening next season. It was just announced this week that they're going to revive Take Me Out. Maybe it's 2020, but it's a story of a baseball team and a baseball player who is kind of a star of the team and everything's great, except he's in the closet and he decides, hey, what's the big deal? It's 2003. I'll come out of the closet and just be who I am. And it causes some issues with his teammates and with the media. It's Take Me Out. And it's also in the news because that's why I'm mentioning this. Jussie Smollett, that actor from Empire, who was and then was not and then semi-was and apparently is going to get sued and pay all sorts of money for lying to the police about being assaulted and racially motivated and he's crazy. Well, he read for a role in this revival of Take Me Out. He was going to be that lead ball player coming out of the closet. Apparently, ever since all this stuff started happening, he's no longer being considered. But anyway, they don't have the cast yet for this revival, but I am excited about it. It's a very enjoyable play. And when some of the characters just start talking about the beauty of baseball, you just sit there, you don't even have to like baseball, although I do, and then you just go like, yeah, this explains baseball. It's a lovely play. I'm excited about it. Anywho, a show that I am excited to see, if the Long Island Railroad is running, I will actually be there matinee today. A brand new musical that opened last week. It opened on Wednesday at the Walter Kerr Theater, and this may be one of the sleepers of the season because nobody knew what to make of it. A musical called Hadestown. Hadestown, and it's an adaptation of the Orpheus and Eurydice myth, or Eurydice myth. And so you're thinking, who's heard of this? Who's going to go see this? But let's check out the reviews for this new musical, Hadestown. It's got a score by Anais Mitchell, who apparently is a real up-and-comer, and it's directed by Rachel Chavkin, who got really noticed for directing Natasha and Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. And then apparently everybody said the direction on that was fabulous. And she's doing some of the same things here. Let's see, it's a musical that updates the Orpheus myth about a street girl who falls in love with a busboy, but she's seduced by a rather nasty fella. Reeve Carney stars, so does Eva Nobelzada, and our friend of the Daverhood, Andre de Shields, is in there. So yay. How did the critics like Hadestown? Let me tell you. Greg Evans, writing for Deadline.com, he liked it a whole bunch. He said even though it's sung through, the songs and the singers are really good. And this show, he finds a pattern in a lot of the musicals that have opened the season. He says that Hadestown stands alongside Oklahoma and To Kill a Mockingbird as moving productions, poignant productions that look to the past but feel undeniably now, which is kind of great. Writing from the New York Post, Johnny Olis, yeah, it's rather interesting. I'm just going to say this, rather interesting that the only critic who hated this show, Hadestown, is from the New York Post. It's Johnny Oleskinsky. Forgive me for mispronouncing his name. He gave the show only 2 stars. He said it has a pleasant sound to it, the music does, but the show is slick and sterile, it's sluggish. He didn't like the misguided modern touches that rob the myth of its magic. He said the songs are beautiful, but it would sound better in a Starbucks than on Broadway. I should mention that the show, according to the critics, has a very left-wing political feel to it. So that's why it's not that much of a surprise that of all the newspapers, the New York Post found things to hate about Hadestown. Whereas Chris Jones, writing for the Daily News, said the show is thrillingly alarmist new musical with a score that sounds like it comes somewhere from deep in the American gut. It has a political ferocity, not to mention a song called Why Do We Build the Wall? Director Rachel Chavkin, choreographer David Neumann, and designer Rachel Hawk are all on the same exciting page. Wow. Barbara Schuler, writing for Newsday, she also loved it. She says it's a poignant, enchanting story, memorable music, haunting lyrics, stunning ensemble, including Andre de Shields as the droll narrator. And Matt Widman from AM New York gave it 4 out of 4 stars. Hadestown may very well become the next risk-taking, genre-defying new musical to catch on with a larger audience and achieve major commercial success. So mostly raves for this new musical, Hadestown, on Broadway. Well, I did mention that there's so many shows opening before the end of the season. I saved one more, because next Thursday is the end of the season. There's one more show that's going to be opening on Thursday night. It's Beetlejuice, the musical, based on the Tim Burton film. It's going to be opening on Thursday at the Winter Garden Theater. And by the way, just a little note about the Broadway season. So far, as of a week ago, Broadway has grossed $1.6 billion, and that is 12% higher than the year before. So it's been quite, financially, if nothing else, a big exciting season on Broadway. And considering all the shows that have been popping in the last few weeks, kind of a pretty decent time, too, to be going to the theater. And now let's just save a little bit of sadness for the end of the segment of Inside Broadway. Want to let you know that General Manager Alan Wasser passed away at the age of only 70. He had Parkinson's. He died on April 14th, so almost a week ago. General manager is someone who is hired by the producers to run the show day to day. The technical, not the technical stuff, but the financial stuff, the business aspects of a show are handled by a general management firm. Well, this guy was running shows like Les Mis, Phantom, and Miss Saigon. So kind of an important dude on Broadway, and I want to bid a farewell to Alan Wasser, who passed away about a week ago. And then, big sigh, real sad and real unexpected, as a matter of fact, also passing away at the age of 70. Not yesterday, but a Friday a week ago. If you didn't hear, farewell to Georgia Engel. Yep, Georgette from TV's Mary Tyler Moore Show. passed away this past week of an unknown cause. She was a Christian Scientist, so she can go to the doctors. She was, of course, on Mary Tyler Moore's show. She also had featured roles in Everybody Loves Raymond and Hot in Cleveland. Born in 1948 in Washington, D.C., she studied theater at the University of Hawaii, and then her first Broadway gig was Hello, Dolly. She was a replacement Minnie Fay. She also was in My One and Only a few years later. She was in a 2002 revival of The Boys from Syracuse, but we best know her, if you're a Broadway person, for appearing in, my God, it was more than a decade ago, in The Drowsy Chaperone, opposite Sutton Foster. She was Mrs. Tottendale. And what was kind of great is I'll never forget the big shock, and it was a very funny comic shock. She has a scene in there where she's reviving the spit take. Because here's this demure, this cute voiced, cute little Georgia Engel, and she's with another actor on stage, and she's sipping from, I guess it's supposed to be champagne, it's probably water. And during this scene, her whole punchline, her whole visual sight gag is to do a spit take. I'm not going to actually physically do it on the air here, but you drink a little, and then you're surprised by something, and you send spit flying. In her case, it was on the poor actor standing next to her 8 times a week. But it was so unexpected and so funny. And of course, comedy builds on itself. So she did about 4 or 5 times. It was hysterical, and I'll never forget that. And it was Georgia Engel on Broadway. She was supposed to be on in another show, I think it was Halftime, that was destined to come to Broadway about these older dancers. There was a role written for her in the show. They did it in New Jersey. It got some pretty good reviews, and it's just been like so many shows in the holding pattern trying to get to Broadway. It may, but it will not come with her, Georgia Engel. And so in honor of her, let's hear just a little bit of a song from The Drowsy Chaperone that Georgia Engel is singing from the 2006 Broadway cast, Love is Always Lovely in the End.
Love makes lovers worry, love makes lovers fret, but here's a fact on which we can depend. Just like long ago when Romeo loved Juliet, love is always lovely in the end.
Romeo and Juliet was a tragedy, madam.
I never read reviews.
You can picture her now, just hearing Georgia Engel speak. Anyway, we're doing Dave's Gone By here on this Saturday, April 20th, 2019. It's about 20 after 11 in the morning, Eastern Time. Thank you so much, folks, who've been tuning in. Leith and Dennis and David and Francis and Michael and Jeffrey and another Michael and all the folks who have given me thumbs up. Not a lot of comments this Saturday. I used to get more comments, but I kind of miss those and the call and response. But it's so great to have you giving these emojis and thumbs up and just tuning in and saying hi. Remember that if you missed all or part of the show, the archives stay on Facebook. Our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By, and also on our webpage, davesgoneby.com. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned still coming up. Yeah, we're going overtime in the show. But before that, I do want to bring back, if I can, for just a little bit, where is he? Where did he go? Because Rabbi Saul Solomon is going to be helping us with our story time. Now, story time is a segment that we started many months ago, where I found a book in a gas station, essentially, brought it on the air, read it week to week, chapter by chapter, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of cool. It also took the onus off me of having to actually create material. So we've been doing that with everything from a book written by Bill Cosby since then to a book about vegetables and a crazy chicken, and just week after week having fun reading to you. So you can bring the kids to the computer if you want to. It's going to be an interesting one because I'm not going to do it. Rabbi Saul Solomon, who interviewed Chauncey Howell earlier in the show, he's got, oh my, in honor of the holiday Passover, which started last night, he's got an amazing book to page through for you for a little while. So, I'm going to play the theme music and bring Rabbi Saul the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul, back onto the show.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story. Remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Ah, yes. Shalom. Shalom again, my friends. Shalom again, my fair weather friends and my enemies as well. This is your old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, the founder and gotta kiss the fringes, the founder and the spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. I hope you're all having a fabulous Pesach, and you're eating the right foods and you're already constipated, I'm sure. So the thing about being Jewish is, depending on how Jewish you are and what sect you are, and it's important, sects are important because it's important to have good sects, where you have rules. The whole thing, if you ever saw Fiddler on the Roof, is there's a law for everything, a reason supposedly for everything, even if it makes no sense. There's always something to look up and say, well, what do I do there? Can I sleep on my side or on this side? What does God say? What do the rabbis say about, should I sleep on my stomach? Should I sleep on my back? My wife likes to sleep on her stomach, and I also like to sleep on her stomach. It's an old Woody Allen joke, but there's laws and rules for everything. So how do you get through a holiday like Passover, like Pesach, where, oh my God, there's 20,000 more rules, and they're just for 8 verstonkene days? So can I eat this? Can I not eat that? Is this bean? Is this kosher for Passover? Is it not? Can I eat a locust? I don't want to eat. Is a grasshopper? It's kosher regularly. Is it kosher? All just one after the other. What the hell do you do for the holidays? Thank God, thank Hashem, that someone has written a book to put all these laws together for us in an easy, simple, handy to follow guidebook for following the rules of Passover. Oh yeah, simplicity itself, my friends. This is the book of the Laws of Pesach, a digest by Rabbi Avram Blumenkrantz from the wonderful year of 5766, because we have no budget on this show. I can't actually buy the new one. So let's go back in a time machine 13 years ago and see what the laws of Pesach were. So if you have a family, if you are doing, and isn't it wonderful? Ian just tuned in. Ian, the son of the late and wonderful Fivish, just tuned into the program in time to learn the laws of Pesach from Rabbi Avram Blumenkrantz. Let's page through this delightful tome, shall we? All right, here we go. So it's the laws of Pesach, and it's a valuable asset in your Pesach preparations. Literally thousands of people, and if you go through Pesach, you need preparation H, for God's sakes. Literally thousands of people across the country and abroad use this guide. I don't know who the broad is, but she should use it, both for its relevant halachas, which are the daily rules, as well as the products and medication listings. This sefer, this book, is now available for dedications. So whatever. So if you want to perpetuate this book in honor of a loved one, in other words, pay some money so you can get your name in the book, you can contact, they actually have a phone number for this guy. I'm not going to read it on the air. But if you want to contact him, there's numbers in the 718 area code. Big shock. All previous issues must be disregarded. Well, that's a great way. It's like college textbooks. It's like you have to buy the 6th edition of this book now, this textbook, because the 5th edition, there's 3 new pages in it. So now you have to spend another $120 on the textbook. This is the Laws of Pesach. We shouldn't really be using this anymore, but we're going to. We're just using it as a thing. And it's dedicated to Mr. and Mrs. Yossi and Rachel Stern and their family. A nice dedication page. And then there's advertisements, because if there's a way to make money on something, Jews are going to do it. Well, there's been more dedication. So these are people who asked that this book be dedicated to them, and I'll read it instead. In honor of our parents, Abraham Levy and Sylvia Levy, of blessed memory, Dieter and Dolores Gruen, Rabbi Blumenkranz, Rabbi Vorhan, and Rabbi Monk. In honor of our daughter Shoshana Chaya, may we be zocha to share all our simchas together and receive much nachas from her with hearts overflowing and with gratitude to Hashem. And then we've got advertising in the book, honestly, a little bit of, wait till you see this. Because Jews are by nature a fearful and depressed race, this is the first advertisement you see. This Pesach, let your chametz get burned, not your children. Very important thing here. Honestly, this is an ad in the book. Save our children's lives. Do not allow children to hold a bedikas chametz candle. Now, if you were Jewish, yesterday, before this, or much earlier in the day, the night before even, you would go around and make sure that every room in your house was free of bread or bread-like non-Pesach products. So you do a ceremony where with a candle and a feather or a feather duster, you sweep and you make like, all the chametz, all the bread stuff is officially out of the house. And then you take it and you're supposed to burn it. And this book is warning you, this advertisement says, don't allow children to hold a candle. They should be encouraged to use a flashlight instead, because adults holding candles, hair, curtains, and flammable items ignite in seconds and cause fires. Be careful! God damn it, be careful. It's supposed to be a fun holiday. Never allow children to burn chametz, because wind, combustible items, and distracted children contribute to tragic fire-related accidents. Are we having fun yet, kids? Never leave candles unattended. Shabbos candles can easily be tipped by a thrown object or a pulled tablecloth. And then yard site locha, the candles for the dead, because you can't talk about anything Jewish for more than a minute without either mentioning the Holocaust or people have passed on. And the yard site candles need to be placed on a metal tray because they can explode. Have you ever seen a yard site candle explode? That's someone coming back from the dead. If you light a candle, one of those little yard site lumps for the dead, and you walk away and you're sitting in the living room watching TV, and you hear that a candle exploded, that is your grandpa coming back from the afterlife to talk to you. So yes, you should definitely pay attention to that. Avoid using liquid paraffin. I do all the time. Paraffin is highly toxic and can injure or kill a child if ingested. And remember, push hot water urns out of the reach of children. I kid you not. We're not even going to get through this page. Push hot water urns out of the reach of children. Boo urns is what I say. Yeah, because I know I keep my hot water urns a little too close to anywhere that I happen to be. Urns, or samovars, are clearly responsible for most of the terrible third-degree burns. Boo burns. Adults must keep urns and their electrical cords far out of the reach of youngsters, and do check the batteries in your smoke detectors. Together, we can prevent fire tragedy. Oh, what a happy holiday Passover is, ladies and gentlemen. We're reading from the Laws of Pesach. That is our facing front page. Look at this. And as if this were not enough, as if all these warnings weren't enough for the children, there's a whole entire other page of prevent fires and burns, and then stop warning, scary shit. Never, never pour flammable liquid such as benzene, kerosene, lighter fluid into a fire. Who would? Who, unless you were like a white redneck burning down a church in Alabama in 1962. Who does this? Who pours benzene into a flame? The vapors will bring the fire right back to you. And then there's a whole bunch of numbers for the Fire Safety Commission. This is so much better than the Haggadah, I have to tell you. And then finally we get to the table of contents of this book of rules and laws for the Passover holiday. A book of acknowledgements. Sholem al Yisrael. Now I don't want to read that. Let's get to. Let's just let you know that this essay was published in the Nachlass Tzvi in 1931. There's a previous essay that they have in here. Rav Dr. Joseph Brewer, in blessed memory, wrote, "We believe that the contents of this essay will be of great interest to the reader. To judge by the handwriting, we surmise that it was written by Rav Hirsch in the early years of his rabbinate." Wow. And the Chag Kosher B'Sameach, Rabbi Avram Blumenkrantz. I really don't feel like reading this. Oh, what the hell? Let me read this. Let me read this to you. This is an old classic essay of some sort. Recently, we read in the Megillah, and Haman said to King Ahasuerus, quote, "There is a certain people scattered and divided between the other people of your provinces. Their laws are different from everyone else. They do not observe the king's laws. Therefore, it is of befitting for the king to tolerate them." Well, that's all right. It appears that Haman tried to depict the Jewish people as a threat to the realm because they were dispersed and fragmented. We would have expected that any danger from an ethnic minority would have been intensified if that minority would have been united. Fragmentation of a group weakens its combined strength, so we have trouble understanding Haman's reasoning. Our sages clarify this pasuk for us by explaining Yeshnu Am Yachar to mean that what the hell? To be sleeping is inattentive to the needs and protection of his people. Haman understood that the dispersion and scattering of Jews among 127 nations caused Jews to lose the protection of Hashem. Our question is, why was this so? How is this so? The answer is a quotation from Rabbeinu Yonah of the Pasuk in Mishlei, which I know you all know by heart. The one which follows his own desires separates himself from his fellow man. One whose goal in life is to satisfy his own desires drives a wedge between himself and those who have conflicting personal ambitions. They can and do clash, and each individual's need for self-gratification causes divarication and strife. And boy, oh boy, we have so much divarication in our world, don't we? I'm so glad I got to read this. Thus we find that when the people of Israel stood at the mount, the Pasuk says, and camped there, they used the singular verb for encamped instead of the plural. Rashi comments on this, saying that they were like one man, one heart, one man, one heart, one tush, one thought. But all of their other encampments were with complaints and strife. So they're saying in this essay that when they were together, they were as a unit. When they were complaining and things weren't good, then they were singular. They were individuals. The reason is they were united in their goal. They were unanimously ready to accept the yoke of the Torah, not the shell and the white, but the yoke of the Torah. And I'm not going to read. Anyway, this is just an essay, an old essay here about how important it is to be united as a people, and therefore to sit around the Passover Seder table, tell long stories, debate the same old debates, eat the same old horseradish, and just eat a lot of matzah and fall asleep and listen to the children shriek. What is Pesach? We're in chapter 1, finally. Chapter 1 of the laws of Pesach. Pesach is an 8-day Yom Tov of Torah. Of Torah origin. It's in the Torah. It marks the birth of the Jews as a people and their emergence as an unparalleled nation devoted to Hashem's will. Pesach is known by 3 names, each of which expresses the unique aspects of the Yom Tov. This is a good day, a holiday kind of thing. One is Zman Cherutenu, time of our freedom. This is true. We commemorate the liberation of Bnei Yisrael from slavery in Egypt over 3,000 years ago. Under the leadership of Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem brought us from the lowest depths of enslavement to the highest peaks by giving us the Torah on Mount Sinai. So that's why it's also called Zman Cherutenu, the time of our freedom. It's also called Pesach. We knew this. The Hebrew word Pesach means to jump. There we go. It's derived from Pesach because the Almighty jumped over the houses of the Jews. When the plagues were delivered upon the Egyptians, we were spared. during the 10th plague, when the firstborn of every Egyptian home died, Jewish homes were leapt over. Pesach also refers to the Korban Pesach, which is a paschal lamb which was slaughtered on the 14th day of Nisan and eaten on the day after. And oh God, there's so much more of this. There is so much more. The kindness of sparing an individual from death is so great that it overshadows all of the miracles, wonders, and salvation that occurred in Egypt. Even the actual liberation pales in comparison. Being given access to life, being spared from a premature demise, incorporates within it all of the preceding benefactions. What value in freedom when one has no future? That's actually rather nice, I have to say. And since we're talking about the 3 different names for Passover, this Chag HaMatzot Hazeh. Let me show you. Look, Chag HaMatzot. There they are. The Shmur HaMatzot, the handmade ones. Why do we call Passover that? The Rabbi of Berdichev explained as follows. Regarding the mitzvah tefillin, we find that Hashem praises Bnei Yisrael and Bnei Yisrael praises Hashem. It's kind of a mutual masturbation society there. And they say, what is written in our tefillin? Hear, O Israel, God, our Lord, God is one. What's written on God's tefillin? Who knew? I thought God wore a sombrero. It is written, and who is like your people, Israel, one nation in the world. Similarly here, Hashem refers to the festival of the Torah as Chag HaMatzot to praise us who hurried so much that the dough did not rise and that bread became matzah. Quote, let's see. I remember, this is a quote that this rabbi is saying, I remember your loving kindness in your youth going after me in the wilderness with no food for the way. The Jewish people in turn mention the praise of Hashem, who stepped over the houses of the Jews, saving them from the angel of death. Well, there you go. Always death, as I said, always the Holocaust, always something kind of negative buried in the fun stuff of any holiday. All right, let's move on from this, which is already 30 pages of this. Rather interesting if you're not trying to do comedy with it. Oh, preparing for Passover. What is chametz? I was talking about this before. It's one of 5 species of grain. Who knew that grain had species, right? I wonder if there's Darwin for grain. If there were originally like 30 species of grain, and then the better ones kind of knocked off the lower ones and survived. There's barley, rye, oats, wheat, and of course spelt, which is it's spelt right. Okay, kidding. Or the derivatives. They are allowed to remain undistributed and in contact with water for 18 minutes or more. Chametz results instantly when grains are exposed to hot or salted water. So foods like bread, cake, crackers, pretzels, cereals, noodles, whiskey, beer, malt are chametz. Grain flour is commonly produced from grains that have been washed and tempered. Tempering is the process of grains being softened when soaked in water. The flour and all products made with it are chametz. Alcoholic fermentation is also chametz. You can't mix chametz with other things. That's also prohibited. Non-chametz foods processed on utensils, which are used for chametz-containing foods, are to be considered chametz, which is why Jews not only have 2 sets of dishes in regular times, but they got to put those away for a week and use entirely different silverware and plates and forks and knives just during Passover. Because, oh my God, even if you wash it, even if you boil the stuff, you used it when it can't touch the bread thing, now it can't touch a non-bread thing. Let's see, what else can I tell you? There's a scientific explanation for all this, and I do not care. And the Ashkenazi customs. I want to find fun shit in here. Let me find something fun. I'm going to flip through this book here, I hope. Let's see. They're going to talk about dishwashers in the book. So literally every possible law. Microwave ovens, refrigerators, freezers, microwave convection ovens. Let's do dishwashers. Dishwashers are difficult and impractical to kosher. They should be cleaned and the door left in a locked position. Can you use it? Let's find out. If the dishwasher is of stainless steel and is cleaned thoroughly so that the chametz, as little as it may be found in the machine, then there are some opinions that would permit koshering the dishwasher. However, the racks must be replaced with new ones. If the stainless steel dishwasher has 2 propellers, this is real, the hose to the top propeller must also be replaced. One has to remember that chametz on Pesach does not become nullified. If any amount of chametz is in fact left in the machine, it can make the dishes you put in the machine chametz. This is what Jews do to themselves. This is the intricacy of kashrutz and chametz. This is like if you have a dishwasher, something that you put soap in with really hot water to clean things. It's not enough. No, you gotta pull out the blade, you gotta pull out the rotor, the belt, replace it, new top drawers, just if you want to use a dishwasher on Pesach. Let's find another one of these, because this absolutely fascinates me. If you have, let's see, coffee percolator, what do we got here? I'll find more. A shredder. It's a food shredder, not a paper shredder. A shredder used with chametz cannot be koshered by hagala purging. So you can't give it an enema. It's good only if you know there are no chametz particles in the shredder. If, however, the shredder is used only for non-chametz items like potatoes, vegetables, bones, etc., even if it's possible that one may have sometimes used it with chametz, it may be koshered with a thorough cleaning. Well, thank goodness for that. Water cooler. Let's do water cooler. If one is careful not to use the hot spout of the cooler over chametz foods, it can be used on Pesach to kosher it, thoroughly clean both the hot and cold spouts and pour boiling water over them. Those who use these spring water coolers should change the hot water spout and make sure they get new bottles of water for use on Pesach. I swear to God, Passover is invented just by people who want to sell food and products, because they force everybody to buy everything. If you have a sugar bowl that never even touches unkosher food, or barely, it goes into coffee, it goes into tea, doesn't use it for anything else, and yet, no, can you use the sugar that you use all year round? Oh, no, gotta go buy a whole new bag again and again. But that's Jewish life. This is how we create jobs. This is how we keep unemployment low in the Jewish community. Well, I've been employed here on Dave's Gone By doing story time for you on this Passover Shabbos, the first day of Passover. We'll dip into this more next week, I hope, because there's more stuff just like this in the Laws of Pesach, a digest by Rabbi Avram Blumenkrantz from 2006. So it's nice and fresh information for you. I thank you again for joining us on the Dave's Gone By Facebook program. I want to bring back Dave to do a little bit more of the program before we go. So I would bid you a most happy and healthy Pesach with no chametz and no fires. Don't burn yourself. Don't be pouring kerosene into open flames. I know it's tempting. I know benzene. You see a flame, you're like, oh, I happen to have a bottle of benzene right with me today. Yeah, flame, benzene, looks like it'll go together very nicely. Don't do it. Just saying. Follow the laws. And with that, I bid you a good Shabbos and a Zisen Pesach. Dave, come on back. You're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program, radio. What is it? It's the, when I'm off for a week, I always forget what it's called. It's the Podcastio Facebookio Programmio. There you go, of the stream. It is our 693rd episode live on this April 20th, 2019, with me, Dave Lefkowitz, giving you a good shot of my teeth. There you go. We've been calling it CHAUNCES are. We're almost done. Have one more segment for you. And I know you wouldn't want to miss this. You wouldn't want to live without this because, we get cultural here. We talked about the theater. That's important to us. We talked about drama criticism. We were also talking about various ethnic cultures. But what could be more cultural than poetry?
You're the poetry man. A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The Dave's Gone By Facebookio program. Time for a little bit of poetry, as we do every week, and have been for quite a while now. It's our Colorado limerick of the damned. Because every week we take a town or a city, a place in Colorado, and do a short 5-line, sometimes obnoxious limerick poem about that particular place. And this time we've really gone far afield. This is a place I doubt anybody watching has heard of, even our fans in Colorado. But there's actually a town called Hooper, Colorado. It's in Alamosa County in southern Colorado. In 2010, it had a population of 103. So it may have boomed over the past decade. It probably has closer to 104 at the moment. The name of Hooper, Colorado honors railroad official Major S. Hooper. So that's all I really know about Hooper, Colorado. And so in honor of this particular town, let us hear this week's Colorado limerick of the damned. A black college student from Hooper was stopped on the road by a trooper who treated him rough and put him in cuffs and jammed a baton in his pooper. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Colorado limerick of the damned for this Saturday, April 20th, 2019, on the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Programmio, Podcastio of the stream. You know what I forgot to do, and I love doing, and we're going to do just before we come out of here? I forgot to do the friends of the Daverhood, because I was going to thank so much Chauncey Howell for being on the program. He was such a delightful guest, but we've had many, many delightful guests over the 16 years that we've been on the air, and we like to let you know what they've been up to, what they've been doing, because they'll come on the show because they're promoting a book or a movie or a show that they're in off or on Broadway, and then years will pass and they're doing other things. They're our friends now, so we let you know what they're up to, our friends of the Daverhood. So what's been up with our friends over the past week or so? Well, for example, want to give a shout out to Jillian Pensaval. Might be Gillian. If I'm mispronouncing her name, I apologize. But Jillian Pensaval is producing a podcast called Ted and Michael Read Sketches into Microphones. And Gillian is producing and doing that with her husband, Michael Paul Smith. You can find out more about those podcasts at tedandmichael.com. Daphne Rubin Vega, you remember her, of course, from the original cast of Rent. She is going to be, they announced this week, in the movie of In the Heights, the Lin-Manuel Miranda show featuring Jimmy Smits. So Daphne Rubin Vega has a role in the Heights, the film. That will come out probably within a year or two. Stephen Tobolowsky, I had no idea about this. My wife has been watching the seasons of One Day at a Time. Not the original one with our late friend of the Daverhood, Bonnie Franklin, but they redid it. Norman Lear did a new version, a kind of a Hispanic version of One Day at a Time. It's very entertaining. It's watchable. They had 3 seasons of it. It is canceled, and I had no idea that a regular player on that, a featured player, is our friend Stephen Tobolowsky. He played Dr. Berkowitz on that One Day at a Time, so it was good to see him. And of course, you can go on Netflix and watch it anytime. Yesterday, Ghostlight Records released the digital cast album of a musical called The Man in the Ceiling, which was co-written by Andrew Lippa and our friend of the Daverhood, the great Jules Pfeiffer. This is a show that still has its sights on New York. They did it in the Hamptons, or over at Bay Street Theater, I should say, on Long Island about a year ago. It's The Man in the Ceiling. So you can't see it yet, but you can listen to it from Ghostlight Records. I want to let you know that this is the last weekend that you can catch an off-Broadway show called Life Sucks. Life Sucks by playwright Aaron Posner. It's an adaptation of Uncle Vanya that's sort of modernized and sort of not, and kind of breaks the fourth wall and kind of not. I actually reviewed it for New York Theater News, which you can get online at theaternewsonline.com. Not a huge fan of it, but in the show is the wonderful, the great, our friend Austin Pendleton, ubiquitous. So if you want to see Austin Pendleton in Life Sucks, you have just today and tomorrow to do so. It is at the Wild Project on East 3rd Street in Manhattan. Tomorrow, our cabaret friend Sidney Meyer is at Pangea in New York. Playing now through tomorrow, actually. Ruben Santiago Hudson is doing his one-man show, Lackawanna Blues. That is in Los Angeles at the Mark Taper Forum. And speaking of Austin Pendleton, I swear to God, the man never rests. The day after he gets out of Life Sucks, he finishes the run of the show. On Monday, he is directing Hannah Ryman's show, Both Sides Now. That is being done at the Irondale Center in Brooklyn. So you can catch her then in the show that he directed. And then also on Monday, Ed Asner and Tova Feldshuh, two of our friends of the Daverhood, are in the Holocaust-based The Soap Myth that is being done at New York City's Center for Jewish Learning. And the cool thing is, WNET, Channel 13 in New York, is filming it for broadcast on its 24/7 arts and culture channel, All Arts. So if you don't get to see Ed Asner and Tova Feldshuh on Monday, you'll be able to see them on TV if you're in the New York area. On Tuesday, Julie Halston, our friend of the Daverhood, will be announcing with Michael Urie the Outer Critics Circle Award nominations. That'll be at the Algonquin Hotel on Tuesday morning. On Friday, our Tony-winning friend Alice Ripley is going to be doing a reading of a new musical. It's called Pete Her Pan, sort of a Me Too era musical. It's all about Wendy's daughter, Jane, from, of course, J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan characters. Pete Her Pan is an industry presentation. I'm not sure if the public is invited, but it's a show that wants to get off the ground, and Alice Ripley is doing a reading of it this coming Friday. Playing now through next weekend, My Fair Lady on Broadway. It's their last week to catch Danny Burskin playing Alfie Doolittle in the show, and that is up at Lincoln Center at the Vivian Beaumont Theater. And by the way, you must see this My Fair Lady. It's absolutely magnificent. Ethan McSweeney, our director friend, is staging a show called All Our Children at the Sheen Center off Broadway on Bleecker Street. That is running now through mid-May. Avi Hoffman doing Yiddishkeit at the Betsy. This is a series of readings and panels and seminars in Florida, South Beach, Florida, now through late May. On Broadway, beautiful, the Carole King musical is co-written by our friend Douglas McGrath. That's at the Sondheim Theater. Tootsie, we mentioned that before, is at the Marquee Theater on Broadway. Julie Halston, our friend, is in the cast, and David Yazbek co-wrote it. To Kill a Mockingbird features Dakin Matthews playing the judge. That is on Broadway at the Schubert. Daniel Breaker is in Hamilton playing Aaron Burr at the Richard Rogers Theater. Moving to nightlife, remember that Jim Caruso's cast party happens every Monday night at Birdland. Leslie Jordan and Vicki Lawrence are in Fox TV's The Cool Kids. Gilbert Gottfried does Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast on earwolf.com. Evan Seplow is the editor and founder of StageBuddy.com for New York nightlife information. Dr. Demento still doing shows old and new at drdemento.com. Eva Heinemann hosting High Drama, a theater review show on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which is where you can also watch Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake doing their theater reviews on Two on the Isle. And we also have the great news that Leslie will be directing Charlie in his one-man show, How I Found an Affordable Apartment in Manhattan, ... without really trying. That will be in either July or August as part of one of the theater festivals. So congratulations to both of them. Catherine Russell is still starring in Perfect Crime off Broadway. Jeannie Lieberman is the editor of TheaterScene.com. And gosh, anything else? Oh yeah, read Mary Shen Barnage's reviews of Chicago area theater, both in TotalTheater.com and Windy City Times. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Oh my goodness, it is almost noon. We're almost hitting the 3-hour mark here on Dave's Gone By. And so just remains for me to thank so many people for tuning in, for giving me thumbs ups and messages. In fact, Fred from Friendly says, Wendy and I have just been to the UFO. Really? Oh my God. Our poem, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, was about Hooper, Colorado, and Fred just says that he and his wife were at the UFO watchtower just outside of Hooper. So who knew there's a UFO watchtower nearby? Gosh, what a hub of arts and culture and entertainment Hooper, Colorado must be, my friends. Anyway, thank you to Michael and Jeffrey and another Michael and Ian and Martin and Fred and Tony, Leith and Michael, so many Michaels, Janine and Wayne and Claudia and Chauncey especially, Chauncey Howell, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a Facebook page. He's got videos up of him singing Irish and Neapolitan tunes. You can't really find much of him on the air, on TV from back in the day, but you can certainly keep in touch and keep apprised of Chauncey Howell in and out of the Daverhood. Such a delight, so lively, so much fun to talk to. We thank him so much for being in the Daverhood today. And thank you also to Rabbi Saul Solomon, the proud, the Jewish, the Pesach Rabbi Saul. Find out more about him at his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. Remember, that is the place you can read and hear his rabbinical reflections. You can also see the 10 wonderful episodes of the TV show that he did on Long Island Cable a few years back, and even his one-man show that he did off Broadway a couple of years back that he's hoping to bring back to New York in the months and years ahead. It's all at shalomdammit.com, and we thank Rabbi Saul so much. We're certainly going to bring him back next week for more of the thrilling passages in this handy little guidebook to Passover, the laws of Passover. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you to him. Thank you to my darling, adorable, wonderful wife, Joyce, who, for helping me with the show, for bringing me my ever so necessary coffee, for joining me in Greeley Crimes and Old Times, for getting me the wonderful hypnotized chicken. Can't really do a show without a hypnotized chicken, or a delightful bear, or of course our beautiful potatoes behind us and the other potatoes who were very, very scared during the Passover Seder because we were cooking with some of their cousins, but they survived, or as the Jewish thing says, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. Well, it's just about lunchtime here in the Daverhood. Hi to Claudia, by the way, she came back, and to Sandra and Raymond and all these folks who have tuned in. Hopefully, God willing, or as Rabbi Saul would say, Hashem willing, we will return next Saturday, 9 a.m. for a brand new episode, our 694th episode of the show. We are expecting a return visitor to the Daverhood calling in, a singer and actress. We're not going to say who, we don't want to jinx it, but it's going to be very, very cool. And of course, all the other cool, weird, fun stuff that we do every week on Dave's Gone By. Email me, davesgoneby@aol.com. Get on my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and just keep checking out the website, davesgoneby.com, and the Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. See, we're consolidating everything. We're making it so much easier. Happy Easter coming up first of all, to my in-laws, as well as all of you who celebrate the holiday. Happy Passover to, well, me and my family, and thanks to Mom and Dad for taking part in the Seder, and of course my aunts and uncles and all my Jewish friends. In order to move on to this day, this rainy day, the lie that you only get good weather on Jewish holidays, what the hell is going on? Well, it's probably good weather in Colorado anyway. But happy Passover. To lead us out of the program, let us not just walk out of the show. Let's not just march out of the show. Let us parade out of this program with the one and only Gladys Gewirtz and her unforgettable album, Seder Party, because we want to be Seder paraders and gone by.
Shalom, everyone. Here we are. It's your Pesach fun time today. We have songs and rhymes and happy times, all headed right your way. Look out, here we come, stepping smartly along. Sing out, swing out, as we ring out the song. Hurry, hurry, come join the fun. There is room in our parade for everyone. Wear a smile and you are on your merry way. Oh, you can be a Seder, parader, parader. Wear a smile and you are on your merry way. Oh, you can be a Seder, parader today. Yes, you too can become a full-fledged Seder parader. All you have to do is help Mom prepare for the Seder. Just come on the run when there's work to be done. Don't slouch, don't grouch, even work can be fun. Hurry, hurry, here's what you do. Step right up to Mom and say, can I help you? Do your share and you are on your merry way. That's the way to be a Seder, parader, parader. Wear a smile and you are on your merry way. Oh, you can be a Seder, parader today.
And it's time for me to be on my merry way. Happy holidays, I blew it. Happy holidays, everybody. And shalom, and Easter time too, and springtime too, and gone by.